Happy Monday. Welcome back to Retake the Week. This is going to be one of those weird episodes where technically this week, not a whole lot happened. It was really quiet. We kind of just waited politely for Pro League to start, a lot of us. Not everyone. Myself, I was interested in some of the smaller lands that happened. There were some news stories to keep track of, to follow, in CS as well, as in the overworld, or whatever you want to call it, AFK. But the point is, we are going to be covering all of that. You know what we are. You know what we're like. We're going to be talking about everything. We're going to be covering all those tiny lands, the DracuLANs. We're going to be talking about all the roster moves. But also we have a bunch of questions from members asked of us, primarily me, but still us. Quack gets to answer them too. And we'll be getting into all of that in this show. Before we do, though, we have to thank those people who asked those questions. Those would be the members. So yes, thank you very much to the members of the King's Court. Primarily, they get access to a bunch of bonus content. They get access to certain rights, to ask questions, vote on topics. They get to do a whole lot of cool stuff. They get to the King's Court interviews, the BTS segments, which we just completed, and also all the VODs of non-official shows, basically. They get access to all of that stuff. So thank you to the Court Honor Roll you see below, and XL and Romich, who are Court contributors. You get access to their special contributor podcast, which is a members-only podcast, but they get to be guests and topic makers and deciders. Basically, they get to influence a show themselves, which I think is a pretty cool perk. I've always enjoyed that idea, and that's why I offered it in the first place. So here we are. That's going to be our promo done. Quack, do you have anything to promote for yourself? Anything you've been doing? Anything you've been up to?
No. No, I've just been going about my regular busy work, writing articles and such. You'll be seeing me in the upcoming Parken Challenger Championship, whatever, or maybe there's even more words starting with C in that title. And you'll be seeing me there this weekend, starting Sunday, the 8th of March, I believe. Sunday is when we're starting. So I'm casting there as well. It's going to be fun. And no, nothing much more. This time I'm actually making good on my promise. Very nice.
Click clack. There we go.
Happy Monday.
Yeah, happy Monday indeed. And let's get straight into it. We have viewer questions, as I said, which are going to be interesting because when there's not a lot of news, there's not a lot of controversy, there's not a lot of stuff for us to really spice up the show with. It gives a chance for our members to create a bit of controversy, a bit of intrigue. And our first question comes from dennisnyholm. I'm going to call him because I'm going to pretend I have no idea how vowels work in Swedish. What went wrong with National Counter-Strike? Is it because top teams kept recycling players, or is the talent pool too small? And I think it's an interesting question. Quack, you claimed you had a very good answer for this, so I'm going to let you lead off. But I think there's a couple of different interpretations you can have for this answer that are, I guess, on the surface, all valid, but I'm sure we'll get into all of that.
The talent pool of any national team, the players that are available to them, is smaller than the global pool if you're going for a more popular language. Because in the end, it's language which is the main issue. English is what we're usually talking about. I think Brazilian and Russian can also be considered like international teams, because they have significantly broader talent pools than Swedish, French, Danish, whatever. But you open yourself up to more opportunities. So it's easier, in theory, to find and be able to secure the pieces that you need and the ones that you want to maximize the potential of your roster. That doesn't mean actually managing a roster and making a good roster out of those players is any easier. It might actually be harder. And if you are a shit manager, it doesn't matter. Like, you're still going to be shit. It doesn't matter if your roster speaks English or Ukrainian, or whatever language have you. If you are shit at managing the Counter-Strike team, it's going to be bad anyway. So in this sense, I think, especially in Sweden, with teams moving away from Swedish rosters and teams moving away from fully Swedish teams, NIP, most notably, a lot of people were upset about this. They were then very critical when those new international teams didn't perform very well. It's like, oh, so NIP went international because they felt like there was not enough talent in Sweden, and then they didn't get better. So what happened? what's up with that? You're still shit. Well, the answer is because it's not like a silver bullet to just magically get better by just buying players that speak a different language. You still need to actually be a good manager and do something with those pieces, which they didn't really do. Which is why I don't really like that line of reasoning for that reason. I think it really depends on what local scene you're talking about as well. And when you're saying what went wrong, the implication in the question is why don't we have like a top 5 side or like a top 3 side rivaling Vitality, which speaks a language which isn't English or Russian. And there I think we have a bunch of different answers. Like I think Fnatic and NIP, for example, I think they recycled a lot of old players, and that's part of the reason why you would then say, oh, there's no talent, is because nobody's really getting picked up. Like we were just playing with these legendary players over and over again. And then when those players have run their course, like there comes a time where you have to bench Forest. The guys you're picking up have significantly less development because they just haven't had the same sort of system. And if you had maybe more rotation, you could bring down that talent a bit, sort of like what Eyeballers did eventually. And you could sort of bring that down into new investment down below, and you could actually start fostering something which becomes a ladder. And that was a problem for us in Sweden, which wasn't at the very least wasn't helped by the recycling of the Swedish NIP and Fnatic talent. I can't speak for if that's what's happening in fucking Denmark. I think they have a pretty strong national scene as well. There are strong Danish-speaking teams in Tier 2, have always been. Only recently have those sort of top-level teams sort of disappeared with the Astralis, for example. But yeah, that's my perspective of it at least. Is that yes, it's a tool. It's a useful tool. It makes it easier. For most nations, it makes it easier to build a good team. I also just think that managing over time has just gotten better. Like before, if you put it like this, there's so much performance you can squeeze out of a talent pool, right? Like a Swedish or a French or whatever. There's so much talent. You could kind of maximize that relatively easily because there were just quite a small amount of players before, compared to now when managers are much more developed. The best managers in the world do a much better job than the managers of 10 years ago. So for them, that distance becomes much greater. Like they can maximize to make the best team of all time out of an international talent pool, while the managers while even the best manager in the world can only make a so good Swedish team. Like no fully Swedish team is going to beat Prime Vitality. That's not going to happen.
Maybe not currently.
No, right now.
Give it 3 years.
If you give Vitality's manager an infinite budget, make a Swedish team which is going to be better than the current Vitality lineup right now, it's not going to happen.
No, not
at all. So that's just like, I think with managers getting better, I think they can use that wider talent pool more effectively than you could in the past. Because in the past, you were sort of much more relying on, well, we'll just put together the players that we have and they'll make it work, and it's going to work. And then you maybe often went for players who had personal connections, and that helped with chemistry, and they could kind of build the team for you in a way. Because a lot of the time, teams were sort of like Navi originally was just like a 1.6 team with like 5 guys who wanted to try something, and then they made a team. NIP was like, we put together like a bunch of good players, and they gelled really well and managed to make a really successful team, etc., etc. So these days, I don't think you really have that. I think these days it's a lot more like proper sports. The manager actually has to get very involved, so their skills are actually much more important, and that's why the broader talent pool I think is better. I've talked for a long time. Yeah. Do you disagree or agree with any of these points?
Well, that's bloody hell. You made a lot of like very different points. Let's start with firstly. I don't think there's ever actually been a scene that died out as like a national team thing because they didn't manage their talent properly. I do not actually think that's true. I genuinely believe the Swedish scene was just a bit shit beyond the top 2 teams. Like we can pretend all we want that we all believed Wenton and fucking Twist could have been the next great thing if only someone had held their hand sooner. Like, no, realistically, I don't think that's true. I actually don't think that's true. I genuinely do think there was a dire lack of, especially certain positions in the Swedish scene that never filled themselves. Like, there was a brief moment of flashy AWP play that never really manifested into a legit next AWPer. Like, that's something they all struggled with. NIP went international in the AWP position in, like, 2015. Like, it's not something that developed later on. They refused to promote. No, this wasn't a very good one. Like, eventually DracuLAN got some hype, and then, turns out, struggled. with a lot of its consistency. Like there were issues. There wasn't like the French scene didn't stop having national teams. I mean, certainly we still do have French national teams, but they didn't transition away from it because they refused to promote anyone. They tried to promote people. There was a variety of different players tested. G2 tried a dozen different French players to try and fill in the void. And eventually some of those players became good enough to be in like the fringes of tier 1. And you see like 3D Max now has a couple of those guys put together. And those guys can either be on the 15th best team in the world that's fully French, or can be probably in like 8th or 6th best team in the world if they were playing a very specific role. I think the reality is just there are a lot of nations that never in a million years would have had a tier 1 caliber team of national players. Even extended to region, like the Baltics could not produce a full tier 1 roster. Like, you can argue, you can name 5 players who are maybe tier 1 caliber from the Baltics. You couldn't actually make a real fucking roster. Like, they're missing key things. They're missing key, spots. Unless you extend the Baltics to Finland, you're really struggling. So I think for a lot of those players, they never could form a team. But then as soon as everyone else realized, for this specific role, why would I want to try and make it work with Lucky when I can have ROPS? You know, if you're Vitality, right? Rather than forcing myself to be French. And I think that's the reality of it. Like the national talent pools, for the most part, are just not big enough, and especially not deep enough in very specific ways, to actually support a tier 1 side right now, or at least it hasn't for about a decade. I never thought there was just some lack of training. Like, come on, spare me. Rops didn't have any fucking one in his nation or his scene to become a good player. He just was a good fucking player. And I've always hated this logic people have of like, oh, no one held their hand so they couldn't make it to the top. Like, no, that's just not how sports work. People are good. People get better through competing. And if you didn't get better through competing, I'm sorry, you were just destined to not be the top professional in this sport. Like, that's just how it is. It's why I've always hated a lot of the arguments people had about the women's scene. But, oh, no one practices with them and no one helps them. Like, fuck off. Like, no, they're just not good enough. And let's not, like, be fucking lying to people. Like, just be real. They're just not good enough. And that's fine. That's the thing that's happened with a lot of national teams and a lot of national seeds. The depth of talent actually wasn't there. And it made way more sense to take the one fucking Estonian who was worth a damn and speak English. Like, it just made way more sense. I think that's the reality of it. So it's a thing where I think genuinely there are some scenes that are starting to see fruit in a way, because they still have enough interest in their scene. They have enough players who needed to go branching out internationally, who need to try and find their own roles, that you're starting to fill in a lot of spots. I do think in the next 3 or 4 years, there will be a genuine like top 5 Swedish team possible. There will be a top... I mean, currently you could argue you would have a top 5 French team if you just cut all the non-French players out of Vitality, stuff the best possible replacement in. Like, if you stuffed into that roster Netu, Misuta and Body, there's probably someone who'd make the case you'd be a top 5 team still with Apex and Zywoo. Like, you probably would be. Like, be real.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably still a top 5 team. It's just, we all know we're being ridiculous. We're taking the greatest team probably to ever play the game, demoting them to 5th in the world just to make them French. But you understand my gist, right? There are certain scenes that probably are going to be able to manifest some version of a national team again that's competitive. It's just, there was a big hole, and that was mostly just talent. That was just talent. Like, Brazil, you can make the case, probably does have one lying around. They just never were able to put it together through political bullshit. That's a different scenario.
That's the thing, because I think you're right, the talent just didn't exist. What I'm sort of saying is that if there was some sort of universal being with the interest of furthering the Swedish scene, then you could have rotated the talent, and that talent could have actually affected those lower tiers and improved the skill level of those lower scenes. But that comes at the sacrifice of, you know, Prime and IP and Fnatic being worse, probably, and their managers doing a worse job, and their objective isn't to further the Swedish scene. They have no fucks to give about how Sweden, in 2017, whoever was managing Fnatic at that point, has no care in the world what Swedish talent exists in 2019. They don't care. They don't give a fuck. Because they just care about, right now we have to make a roster which starts winning again. So in that sense, you know, they felt that it was best to do whatever the fuck they did, rather than going for... I mean, they did go for some of those players as well. They did go for, like, Disco Doppler or whatever. But, like...
Yeah, and we found out very quickly they just weren't good enough.
Yeah.
Or didn't care enough in some cases.
No. And I think in the few instances you do have interests that have an ability to improve, like the lower layer and the talent layer of a local scene, and actually do go for that mission. It's not rewarding. Like, they don't win anything off of it. Copenhagen Flames hasn't won shit, and they went bankrupt, but they did produce a lot of players that actually moved on to do better stuff. It's not rewarding, but the few times it has happened, they've done good stuff with that, and they managed to bring. In their case, I think it's mostly behind the scenes experience that managed to come in and actually make a talent pool which actually was good for something, rather than bringing down fucking Zipnix didn't play for Copenhagen Flames. So I think it's a bit of it's just you could. If there was a law of the universe, if there was a divine being whose only interest was furthering the long-term viability of the Swedish Counter-Strike talent pool, then you could do that. It's just that that interest doesn't exist in anybody who actually has any power in Counter-Strike in that sense. So
there's a lot of factors that play into it, but the primary.
So I think you're right there that.
Yeah. A national scene just has not been able to for a long time house that kind of talent, and that's just it. It's fine. I don't think there's it's one of those things where it's I think national team play would be cool in a World Cup sense. If that was a part of the scene in some way that was that had some precedent to it and wasn't just kind of crammed in, because now we have too much of a scene established. I think just try forcing national team play in a significant way, in a meaningful way. Still have random silly events that do national team stuff, but generally it's just not going to be a really viable thing. But yeah, that's the opening question, and honestly, I think a pretty interesting thing to think about, the way the especially Swedish scene went.
We are actually going to kind of see this tested in this fall, in November, because we have the Esports Nations Cup. And I did see some actually tier 1 sized orgs are involved in the application process to represent their country. Astralis was one of them. So we might actually see, in a way, the modern day equivalent of this tested, because we might actually get a Danish national team with actually good Danish talent playing, rather than, as everybody expected, it was just going to be Sashi plus a couple of others. So
just Sashi, they would have just showed up.
Yeah, I was just going to be them. Yeah, it was going to be Sashi's current roster with 2 other players, and then Sashi's old roster with 2 of the current. No, but I think Furia were involved as well. We might actually see fucking Kaiserotto show up there. That would be sick. But yeah, I've seen a lot. So yeah, we might actually see it tested if National Counter-Strike is still decent, viable. So yeah, let's see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, it might just be fun, and that's all that really matters. If it's just fun, we'll be happy, right? It doesn't have to prove anything about any nation's team.
Yeah,
it just might be a fun little experiment, especially if the best players, possible, start signing up and showing up. That'll be interesting. That will be interesting. An Astralis call with Blame F, it'd just be fun. That would just be fun to see, even if it is an absolute clusterfuck Counter-Strike wise. But yeah, let's get into the first big sort of retake of this event. That is of this show rather. It's going to be the DracuLAN Retake, with 2 key teams to really be discussed and dissected. One who won the event, one who finished second. But let's start with the winner of the event. Heroic go through and take care of business in an event where it felt like they not necessarily should, well, yes, should, but also desperately needed to. Their tier 1 outings, whilst not utterly disastrous, had not been great. Cluj-Napoca, they just beat 3D Max, lost 2-0 to Bait, G2 phase otherwise. Krakow, straight out stage 1. Sure, they're in an awkward spot using Youngster instead of Alcaren, but with no end in sight, we do need to see something better. We need to see some improvement. We were hoping for something better. And they come into DracuLAN, and they take care of business. They beat Infinite, Astral, Cybershock, FlyQuest, and then finally the grand final, 100 Thieves, with, I mean, let's put it this way. Youngstar wasn't exactly hard carrying every game, but he was, again, having surprising amounts of impact with the AWP. Susp had a really strong event. A surprising turn that recently, seeing Susp topping the scoreboard a lot more than we expect, especially when it comes to this event. I think he was atop the scoreboard most series they played. a pretty big run for them. Probably a big confidence booster as well, because it does keep them well within the sort of major invite spaces. Like, they were probably starting to worry about what their VRS ranking was doing, because these losses they were taking at the big tier 1 events, it was starting to tank things. But now, according to that, they shot up to 16th, at least temporarily. Their current ranking is 15th even. They're still profiting. Yeah, Heroic take a big win, but more importantly, a big swing in their VRS, which was desperately needed.
Yep. This puts them back into the major conversation, according to the eminent Finn Mischief's predictions. So they're just barely inside at the moment, with about a 50% chance of making it. This was before they won the final, which I'm not sure actually meant that much, but it probably improved their chances further. I expect to see them in the major at this point. I think, especially with at least getting one win in ESL Pro League, is a very good start. But talking about DracuLAN itself, they should have won. I want to say that they should have won, but it was an interesting crowd, because given the recent form, it was not a guarantee that they would won. I think the way their team is built as well, it would be bad if they didn't win. But I could also absolutely see it happening with the lack of an opera and such. And it's sort of the thing where a lot of teams really could have used this win. Like, FlyQuest obviously very much could have used a European LAN win. That would have been quite big for them, to be honest. I think Eternal Fire, this new look roster, can be kind of dangerous. Maybe it was a little bit of a dark horse to win the event. I think 100 Thieves, obviously a dark horse to win the event. We saw this later. And I think EN's a team that's still waiting to actually do something in this tier 2 LAN circuit, just after doing nothing for so long. And we also had Bestia here. Like, Bestia were also here with in their second running European LAN event, which could be good for them. We've also talked about Oramond before. Basically, if the small discussion about them was like, yeah, if they get some wins on LAN, they could be in the major. That's because they were just that good online.
Yeah.
So in the context of this crowd, I feel like Heroic should have won. They're obviously the best out of the teams I've just mentioned, even with the issues that they've had. But it was also very much a needed win, and it was also a win that was very realistically losable. So for that, they managed to get the job done. They do it like they do it quite comfortably. It's a nice job not dropping a map before the final, especially when you're going up against like FlyQuest is a team that they have some hands, and Cybershock as well could have won a map. They played overtime against them on Dust 2, but they get the job done. And then, in the actual final, they very nearly lose Nuke to 100 Thieves as well. I think I saw it. I wasn't paying full attention to this game, but I think I saw 100 Thieves went up to they went up to 7-5, and then 8-7. They just couldn't really get it done on Nuke T side, which is, tricky, obviously, but that's also good job for Heroic for not letting that go.
Yeah, no, Heroic, honestly, the 100 Thieves side, they're still not finished, polished. We'll get into them exactly what we're talking about, but the win had to be taken. And yes, you can maybe say it's not the hardest T side to shut down, the 100 Thieves T side nuke, but still, it had to be done. And I do think there were some bogey teams, some teams that could have really screwed with you. And I think Ents ran into one of them in the lower bracket in Eternal Fire. Like, that's just not a team you want to match up with. If your game, in the way I see Ents' game, is heavily predicated on the idea that we're both going to play real CS and we're going to play it slightly better than you, rather than Eternal Fire's slightly more vibes, I'm going to shoot you CS, which in this case can lead to some really difficult games. Like, if they're not going to play a fully traditional standard set, they are going to take riskier picks, riskier fights, take some 50-50 duels just on ego almost. You are going to struggle if you're not going to hit the shots, and Ents do not have the aimers that Eternal Fire do. Like, Eternal Fire probably you can say have the edge almost not across the board, but like in a lot of places they have some really strong aimers. They have Waro, they have Jota, Demka, Rigon can still shoot. Like, they're not an easy team to play if you're an Ents side that really likes to be structured and proper in a lot of ways. That's the way I see them, and that's the sort of matchup that can really punish you especially if you're a favorite looking to just take care of business, play comfortable, sit back. But yeah, they end up avoiding all that. They take care of FlyQuest, which was probably the closest of the 2-0 wins they had, like 13-9, 13-11. Like, FlyQuest did look pretty decent. And yeah, they avoid the bumps and bruises. But yeah, let's talk about this 100 Thieves side. Because their debut, like the first time we saw them play, I think all of us saw them play in that open qualifier, and that was not great. They then played the Roman Imperium Cup, where they lose the best one to NIP, beat Bestia and NIP, then lose to BetBoo. Yep. And you're like, all things considered, not the end of the world. But yeah, you need better than that if you're going to make the massive sort of placement shift that you needed, all right? Like going 2 for 2, like 2 wins, 2 losses. Just not ideal. Well, they come into this event, they win their best of ones, they lose 2-0 to Ents in a game where they just looked outclassed. I think that's the easiest way to put it. They just looked like they were facing an opponent who was clearly better than them. Like, Ents took them apart. And after that, never looked back. Like, they never looked back. They crushed some easy opponents, had a pretty good win over Cybershock, beat Eternal Fire, FlyQuest. Games I expected them to lose both of those, to be clear. Like Eternal Fire, then FlyQuest, I was like, damn, the way those teams have played, the way I saw 100 Thieves, struggle to get past that Ents roster, I really thought they'd struggle or outright just lose against either one of those teams. They beat both, they made the grand final, and yes, there it does come to an end. And you do have to shout out, there were some games I watched from them where it's like individuals literally went absolutely ham. Like, insanely ham. I watched some games where I saw Rain pop the fuck off. I saw Syra have some crazy rounds. I saw Ahil do some bonkers stuff. Quite important, I saw Poi just running down people's throats in ways which are clearly not perfectly pre-planned. But a lot of the individual riflers, especially that core trio of star riflers, the younger guys, well, semi-stars, not all of them explicitly stars, all of them took their chances, found their gaps, found their moments, and really tried to exploit them. I think Syra's the key one, where it's like he's kind of got that sort of lurker playmaker role where he can just go and take a risk. A number of times I saw him like see something happen and just dart through a smoke or try a little push, take his sort of duel on timing when something else started happening. Like they had a lot of impetus as individuals to make plays, and they did, and they were quite successful. So I think 100 Thieves, whilst the strat book isn't fully fleshed out, they don't have it all figured out tactically. They have a really strong base of talent right now. As far as those players, Device mostly shit, but those 3 guys pretty much figured it all out. They feel the confidence. They have that sort of mentality where we can all make a play, we can all win a round, and that's working. So as long as they've got that working, they're still posing a threat. They should still win their games at this level, even if, as I said, not everything they did tactically made perfect sense.
Yep. It's interesting how you were talking a lot about how this roster was just a series of coin flips, and it's impossible that all of them land up heads.
Yeah, and they haven't, but more have landed up than I would have first hoped. Let's put it that way.
It's more than 50%, absolutely. It's honestly the bigger coin flips, like how are Poi, Ahil, and Asira. Actually, maybe they weren't even the bigger coin flips, but
they weren't. They were not. Rain to IGL. Glaive to coach, and then Device in 2026 were all fucking crazy to me.
Device to most people wasn't a coin flip. To most people, that was just an L. That was just like gently laying down the coin.
I never, to be fair, I never defined them as coin flips. I said they were all massive risks in a variety of different ways. Device was the biggest risk that he'd magically stop being shit, and he hasn't. But that doesn't matter when he doesn't have to do anything.
No, at the moment he just doesn't have to do anything. He's gonna have to start doing something, and that's maybe the one thing which is a negative here. But the event overall, like these wins are big. It's honestly not even a matter of the opponent in terms of VRS. They gain almost 400 points off of just winning these 8 games out of the 10 they played, and that's good enough. I mean, imagine if they won that final, it could have been even huge. But at the moment, again, the aforementioned projection puts them at like a 25% chance of making the major, which is fucking insane considering they've played 14 games. Yeah. Like it's just something else. So yeah, that in that sense, they can absolutely be happy with it. I think they can be extremely happy with the rifle core. I think Rain hasn't played too shabby like individually either. Like, transitioning to IGL, maybe it's a testament to like how that tactical game has looked, but 102, some IGLs are 0.85. Like, okay, it's not horrible. It is just Device, man. Like, Device has to do something. Device has Has
Gotta
to
hit
change.
something, bro. Like, he's got to do something.
Yeah.
He's got the orb. He's got to hit something. He's just, yeah, he's been very disappointing on that front, and it's a shame because there's so much you can say that's positive. And then you come out of a game, right? You see them win like a 2-0 game. You're like, oh, sick. Or you see them win a close one, and you look at the scoreboard. You're like, how has Device not managed to be positive?
Yeah.
know? You're like, how's he managed to go negative still? And if you watch his POV, it is just, it's mechanically he's not looking good. It's not looking good, Brev. It's not looking good.
Yeah, and like I have to think that like he goes up against Cybershock. They're playing with a Bulgarian as a stand-in. You know, I don't know the language overlap between between Bulgarians and Russians, but I don't think it's 100%.
But it's not a lot.
Yeah, and they've win it 2-0. And then Device checks the HLTV page and he's a 0.98. And I have to imagine somewhere inside him is a little voice which says, man, you are a 4-time major champion, a 2-time major MVP. You were top 20 for 7 years straight or whatever the fuck it was. Like how somewhere inside him probably is the voice that tells him that you shouldn't have 55.7 ADR in this game. Like you shouldn't do that. Yeah, just, when you're like, so it's when they get to tier 1, that has to change. It just has to. Otherwise, they're not going to stay there. You are not going to survive with an offer doing that when they rock up to an IEM or a PGL event or whatever.
If and when, because currently they still haven't qualified for that. That's the one thing missing, right? Like they haven't actually locked in anything big, not yet, as far as I'm aware. Like there's nothing actually confirmed on their calendar.
That's true. I'll tell you. Today is the official VRS update for March because it's a Monday. They are 37th on that. Any event which Passion UA get an invite for, which isn't regional, because they do still get the American thing. Like if you see Passion UA get an invite for an event on the global VRS ranking, I'm thinking that could actually absolutely happen for like a PGL close qualifier, right? Like that's where 100 Thieves could absolutely end. I don't know if Astana I think invites based off of this ranking. I could absolutely see if there is a close qualifier for Astana, I could see 100 Thieves being in it 100%. And I could absolutely see them making it out of it as well if they elevate further. But it's so we might see them like before the major. We might see them in a tier 1 event. It's not impossible. We might see them
qualifier online play, right?
Yeah,
that's the next difficult step because we saw them online and they were a bit shit. They played a meh LAN, a really good LAN. The number of teams I've seen who then come back to online play and shit the bed after going to LAN. That's the next challenge. That's the next challenge in this process, right? You've got to maintain it. You've got to not cock it all up and take an embarrassing loss that just screws you all over. So, yeah, fingers crossed they don't. Because I'm honestly, I'm rooting for the young guys on this team. Like the Poi, Syra, Achille trio. Like each one of them, there was optimism for them in different ways. Like Syra as a part of Ecstatic, part of this decent core, but they all step on each other's toes in terms of who gets priority, who gets to make plays, who gets exactly the full sort of limelight. It's kind of tough to see any one of them sticking out head and shoulders above the rest. Poi, has an endless stream of support coming from one particular duck. And then Achille was like a kind of a hidden sort of dark horse, like a real dark horse sort of player, because around the time Saw were doing okay, he's like, oh, he's putting up decent stats. I mean, his rolls are kind of bad. I mean, maybe he's a useful role player. Then btrams is like looking up the numbers, like, maybe he's the best anchor in the world. I was like, hold the fuck on. Hold the fuck on. Let's not go that far. He hasn't played anyone good, but at the same time, positive numbers from incredibly difficult spots. I mean, there's something to be excited about. And so far, it's exactly what you'd hope for. So, yeah. Fingers crossed they can keep it up. Fingers crossed they actually do keep their ranking with the online play to come, if there is online play to come. But yeah, they're on track. As I clickbaited in the thumbnail, the title, they're overtaking BC Game at this rate. Like, BC Game keep playing big events, which is, I think, the reason why people are like, oh, s1mple went to play the major. That's why BC Game want to play the major. That's why they bought the core. It's like, it's not just the major. It's also s1mple wants to play real CS. He wants to play LAN CS. He wants to play against the best teams. And unfortunately, VRS doesn't care about how much you miss tier 1 play s1mple. It really doesn't. It's punishing you for these losses, and you lot are falling hard. So, yeah, 100 Thieves are projecting straight past them in the next sort of month or so. Depending on what BC Game do, it could go pretty quickly. So, yeah, a bit concerning for BC Game. Incredibly optimistic and positive vibes everywhere, I'm sure, at 100 Thieves after this last week. A fantastic DracuLAN, despite only finishing second. They're going to count this as one massive win.
Yep. Some teams, I think, would count this event as a loss. And there's two in particular that there's actually three in particular that I'm sort of thinking.
There's a few that definitely lost this. I'm just going to throw one out there straight away. No hesitation for me. A team that should have done a lot more and is going to be massively regretting everything that happened here. Man, the fuck's going on with Bestia?
Oh, that wasn't one of my three, but go on.
Look, Bestia have assembled endlessly, like it seems like. They constantly try to make a team that's as good as possible surrounding Tomashin. And every time I hear talk of Bestia, it's like, oh, and also they have this guy, and oh, they're showing a lot of potential. Like, what about Nocti, and how can it work? And there's Nacho guy, and I'm like, okay. Finally, I get to see them at LAN play, and it's just, they flop. Like, it's not even close. They get 2-0'd by Mana. Beat Oromund, who are another one who should probably be taking a fat L out of this. I mean, they lost VRS. And then got 2-0'd and didn't even look they didn't even look like they were in the game against Ents. They didn't even look like they had a puncher's chance. So Bestia, whilst I think they still ended up somehow not losing excessive amounts of VRS from this, they still gained 12 points, but lost one spot. They are a team that I think has to come out at DracuLAN and go like, oh shit, are we bad? Like not like quite like trash, but like this is alarming.
Yeah. I can tell you right now, for the third major running, they are looking like they are just missing out on going to the major.
Well, to be honest, I don't feel that bad for them.
Actually, were they there in Budapest? No, they weren't, right? No, they just about missed out. They're projected to be 11th out of the 10th spot that they need to have. I think they're about to lose even further because they have Imperial just behind them, who I think are going to ramp up a bit after they recover from losing Try. And I'll honestly just throw a shout to Voka because they look kind of crazy with their new players. So, if it might be that they lose to a second team as well. Anyway, point being, they are a bit of a loser. I think they went over to Europe to win some more high value games. And in these two LANs that they've played, they're going back to, just this week they're going back to Brazil or back to South America to play in a Brazilian LAN, which I assume means that this little stint in Europe is over. So, out of Roman Imperium and Digital Crusade, both of them where I think they entered like in the top, definitely, in the top half of the ranking for both of the events. They come away with one win out of 5 games. No bueno.
No bueno at all. Yeah, look, they lost 40 points in Roman Imperium, and then here they don't lose points. They somehow gained 12. I don't really understand how they gained points. Maybe they play a group stage? No, just beating Oromund, I guess, got them some points.
Yeah.
More than losing to Mana. And then, not sure how that works, but hey, I'm not the BRS whisperer. But yeah, it's just a really bad event. I guess if you want to be more positive, you're like, oh, but they won the last DracuLAN. It's like, they need to not be losing games, essentially.
Yeah.
They need to not be sliding, and they are. They're backsliding. Yeah. So, yeah, big red flag.
Yep. I'll give a small loss to FlyQuest. I think FlyQuest don't really have a lot to lose. They're very, in terms of the major anyway, they're very comfortable sitting where they are. Like, they are going to have a major spot. And they're also far enough away where they just can't compete with Mongols for the top spot, like for the stage 3 invite. So, just, what do they have to fight for in terms of the major? But they still matter. And being the second highest ranked team, being like a top 40 team in the world, I would honestly say FlyQuest probably went into this event feeling we should win this. Like, the final should be FlyQuest versus Heroic. Mm-hmm. And FlyQuest probably feel like it would be very nice if we won this game, considering Heroic's recent form. They end up losing to FlyQuest, or losing to Heroic quite narrowly. They lose to 100 Thieves. And I'm not even, like, These other wins, I'm not super impressed by either. Like Eternal Fire is nice, but you still let them on to overtime. It's like I don't really get why FlyQuest decided to play this event, to be honest, because they don't have a lot to gain. They had a lot to lose. Like if they completely screwed up one of those super early games, they had a lot of points to lose.
Yeah, that's a big if.
But
that's a big if.
Yeah, but that's just for that. I'm not sure why they showed up, but it's not a big L either because they didn't lose that much.
I think they needed the reps. It's something I'd put out like that. Like FlyQuest are not in a great spot right now in terms of the amount they've played, the positivity they have for the games they play. Like they kind of needed to take some wins here. Like that's kind of why they're here.
Yeah,
is to get more reps in, get some positivity flowing. And look, they did win 3 best of 3s in a row, and they can give themselves a pat on the back that they played the other 2 teams, the teams they lost to, like close, with the close-ish heroic series. They did play in overtime against 100 Thieves before getting dicked in Anubis. Like they can take some positivity away from it, and they did win some points. Like it wasn't all bad in the end of it.
Yeah. There's one more team I think is a big loser here, which is Ormond. I mentioned them before.
Oh yeah.
Their online form basically they were top 40 something on online games alone, because their online form was just that good. It was basically like if you fill your LAN bucket, you are top 7 in the world. Like if you get 10 wins in DracuLAN and Roman Imperium, you are a top 10 team in the world, basically, according to VRS.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They didn't. They lost every single game here. They were high seeded straight into playoffs. They lost to Bestia. They lost to Eternal Fire. You could lose to worse teams, but it wasn't even close. And they've also, like previously, I think they also played in Roman Imperium and lost 2 straight games there. The only thing that Ormond have managed to do by showing up to LAN and being shit while being gods online is that even more people now think they are radar cheaters in online play.
Yeah.
That's the only thing they've gained out of this. So sucks to be you. And I'll just give, like as always in all of these LANs where they just haven't been able to do anything, I'll just keep giving L's to Ns. Like they keep showing up to events like this and just don't do anything.
No, they are a nightmare at this point.
Yeah,
like it's horrifying to watch these Ents games, because I'm like, every time I watched Ents play, it's always the same thing. It's like, oh, Ents play a really decent game, and structurally they win this map because they played fundamentally sound CS, and Nechu hit a few shots that helped out on the entries, and Pody hit something rather than, flicking at a wall. And then the next time I watch them play, it's the lower bracket, and they're shitting the bed versus someone that's a winnable opponent. It's never a trash opponent, but it's like, these are the teams you have to beat to at some point be taken seriously. To actually be a tier 1.5 team and not just tier 2 forever. And it happens over and over again. So yeah, I'm not tapping out on Ents. It's just somehow they've changed 2 players and changed nothing.
Yeah, and it's not even bad players. Like these are all players that I think on a different team could absolutely hang in the ongoing ESL Pro League bracket. They wouldn't be last. But if Ents played there, they would be last. It's just not really working out. And I can tell you a funny thing as well. They've played 40 maps in 2026. 14 of them are against top 50 opponents. And so they're not even playing anybody with hands. It's just
But it's just as soon as they play someone who's vaguely competent, it's a good chance they'll lose. Like an Eternal Fire team. Like that Eternal Fire team is a top 50 team, right? Like when you look at the roster. That's the sort of game Ents lose every week. Like every week Ents lose that game. And I'm like, fuck, man.
So just listing some of the recent losses. It's Eternal Fire, Cybershock, Illwill, Fnatic. Illwill twice as well, by the way. Bet Boom.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. Right?
Nemiga. This is, of course you're going to lose to Nemiga. Even because that's like a 50-50 game and you lose those. Like a 50-50 game for Ents is a 0 game. And then of course you go and beat X Ruby in one of these games. And of course you go and beat Bestia or Astral. Because you make work of the easy ones. But
always. Absolutely always.
Yeah. So they're just always eternal losers in these lands. It's fun. It pains me that there's actually a lot of Ents fans out there still from ye olden days. And they are just suffering.
They are. All these Finns, these poor Finns. I mean, hey, it gives them a reason to drink, not that they needed one. But let's get to let's do a quick credit allocation. Let's talk about the real MVP of this event.
You the real MVP.
Yeah. Do you have anyone in mind who is
I have
maybe
a
controversial.
weird take. He's top of the rating charts. He played like 2 series in playoffs, lost them both. Absolutely fucked people up in groups. Adex is back, playing his signature brand of I have an AWP and therefore must try to win every fight and moment and round and force everything and somehow also make it work. He is the tier 2 Molodoy in that sense, where it's just like there's no play too risky, there's no AWP too expensive. He's going to try it. And look, across the event, he has a 95 opening and a 96 clutching. Like, those are his ratings, his profile ratings. And it's not like he's doing it off 1v1s and time alive per round. He did have 0.06 clutch points per round. Like, he did just win a bunch of clutches. A 26% multi-kill rate. Like, what the fuck are these numbers? Like, he then immediately put out, like, a very hilariously, like, formatted looking for team tweet where it was like he was selling a fucking Bitcoin or crypto coin of some kind. He's like looking to move upwards. It's like a rocket. What is this Adex coin? Like, what do you mean? But it was amusing.
I'm reading it now.
Yeah, it's amusing to see. But he honestly did just display what I said, was quite apparent back when he was on Bleed. I think that was, no, not Bleed, Revenant. That's the project. That weird period of projects we had.
Yeah.
When he was on Revenant, he did try and forced a lot of shit. And it didn't always work out. And when it hit crazy. But it rarely did on that team. We saw here exactly what it can look like. Like when they lost to Beklik, when Infinite, a team of random Romanians you've never heard of, and Adex lost to Beklik, he still dropped like a 120-something series rating. Like he still had a really good rating against Heroic. He was able to just completely demolish some of the group stage teams. Like he is above the sort of tier 3, tier 4 sort of level that he's forced to come down to. But yeah, probably needs to fix some of the decision making to be a consistent player in tier 2. But I think he deserves a tier 2 shot. So I think I'm going to give him the real MVP just as a quick shout. Because yeah, his team did not make it anywhere close to the grand final. But he was kind of nuts, and he's outrates the next best player on his team by a solid 0.3.
Yeah, he's not a bad player. Built-in silence, ready to make noise. Come on, bro. Oh, that's just ChatGPT. But anyway, no, it's not a bad take. It's easy. He did well. The real MVP is usually something I judge, relative to context, rather than just being the best player outright. So yeah, Adex fits there. He put in a lot of value for Infinite, and then they benched him. Well, and the rest of the team.
Yeah. Not really a team there, but yeah.
Yeah, they benched the entire squad immediately after the event.
Right, so how quickly can you give this to Poi?
It might be Poi just because of they made the run entirely from they made the run entirely from the group stage. I might also give a shout to Ahil just because he's very close in a slightly tougher role. Like he's not the same. Poi gets a lot of freedom to go kind of nuts there, but Ahil has a little bit of a tougher draw in that sense. And he still managed to make it happen. I might give a shout to War 2K. I think Eternal Fire did quite well, to be honest, with a new look project. Like they're still in the early days of this new roster, and a 124 to put them fourth, I think, is not too shabby at all. So and then of course, we have the winners, of course. I
mean, the actual MVP is sus, but that's not the real MVP. So yeah.
If I'm going in the real MVP fashion, might say Youngster. He's not doing a terrible job on the off.
True. He did actually kill people as well. I don't know.
Yeah, he only does it on CT side.
System like this. 6.9 KPR, 15% multi-kill rate, 125 rating. Sometimes 3.0 does fucking annoy me. I'm sorry.
Yep.
How has he managed this?
No, but Youngster's he plays the op on CT side. He doesn't really touch it on T side. He's really good with it on the CT side. He has a 0.42 sniper KPR in DracuLAN on CT side.
It's surprising how good he's been with the AWP. I will give him 100%. I was not expecting him to be effective at all, and he's been pretty good.
Yeah, if he would use it like this on T side, he would have been the MVP proper of this event. But he just doesn't touch it on T side very much. So he's a 131 on the CT side with a .42 sniper KPR. Uses it on quarter on the rounds they play. I guess just very good. It's just, for a CT, like I get CT side opping is a lot easier. Even I can do it, but like he's doing it well, and they would have been a lot worse off if they didn't have an opera at all.
They probably would have been worse off without Koran.
Not a bad take. Not a bad take. When was the last time Alcaran played one of these small lands? I'm sure he played one. Let me check. Let me check. Let me dig this.
But anyway, whilst Quack goes digging, that was...
You the real MVP.
Thank you, Kevin Durant. And yeah, I'm going to load up the next question from the Q&A. It's coming from someone you may have heard of in the community by the name of btrams. Btrams had a question. Yes, btrams is a member of this channel. His question goes as follows. What's your favorite esports memory? One as a fan and one as a content creator. Now, as a content creator, I don't really know. Like, maybe I think, like, there's a bunch of moments where I've been told or been given information or like had things, because, you know, I've been forever underrated. No one fucking watches my videos at all. You know, I peaked at like 26k views like once. Like, I'm not exactly a big household name. I don't do a lot of Twitter stuff. I don't get a lot of engagement from pros or anyone really. And then when I find out, like, you know, ex-player, ex-coach actually watches or has watched my content, has used my content, and I'm like, oh shit, nice. Nice. Like, I once got told, like, yeah, no one, like, when I was doing, like, I did a massive Twitter thread about We Play Academy at one point when I was coming back from a different event. Like, I can't remember which event I was flying home from. There was for a We Play Academy season coming up, and I previewed, like, I basically went through every team, talks about potential threats they had on the roster. Like, this was when Berserk was AWPing on some Norwegian fucking academy side, and they were destined to do nothing. But I was like, if there's any threat, maybe he can be one. And I was told literally, like, a coach from an actual team was like straight up like, oh, this is like the only person who has ever tweeted or had any insight into this. It's actually not bad. And I was told that. I was like, oh, sick. Okay, cool. I'll take the dub. So yeah, that's probably that's the sort of thing that, like, makes it not worth it as a content creator. That's obviously my massive 3-figure sometimes paycheck from YouTube. But those are nice little bonuses, I will admit.
Yeah, that's nice. I think as a content creator, it's got to be one of the interviews. I think both. I think honestly, the one I did with Emsan in Belgrade was probably the funniest interview I've ever done. But then I had one which was, it was cool it was a nice memory to interview all of Meister as well, of course, and Apex at the major. But like, honestly, maybe the best one. You know, the best one in terms of like the content I make was the one I did with Fuzi, where he dropped the ChatGPT, like the context behind the ChatGPT one, and like said he was going to leave Wildcard last fall. That was amazing. That was just very. It was because the context was also so funny. Where like he asked me before the event, a couple of days before, like, "Are you going to be in Stockholm? We should do an interview." And I was like, "I know he's going to drop some bombs." And then, you know, he sets this all up.
Saying it like this just for
yeah,
just for friendly banter chat. I'm like, no. Yeah. He's got some shit.
Yeah, no, we just got into a room, sat down in like across from each other in an armchair each, and just had like a 15-minute casual chat, and you know, just ended up actually making some really cool stuff. I also just some good stuff from this podcast, to be honest. I think it might just be those little moments when somebody says like, "Yeah, that's a good take, nice, I like that," because that doesn't happen often.
True. Starved. Compliments by me and chat, to be honest. Most of the time chat is just fucking correcting you. But okay, as a fan, I've had a lot of fun in esports and in CS events as a fan, so it's kind of hard to pin down like a specific, like, Quack, do you have one that immediately comes out like, oh, as a fan this was awesome?
Going to Budapest was crazy, just in general. First major for me. I'd probably, if like a lot of my viewing has been from home. There's a lot of games I remember sitting like in front of my computer watching.
Oh,
I got like
memories. Yeah.
Yeah, I have like very special feelings around when FaZe won the Antwerp Major, because that was like a late night final. I'd just gotten home and caught the final map.
Oh, it was late, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember walking the streets.
Yeah.
It was dark. We were very drunk. We only got drunker from there. We were hanging out with some Latvians who were having the time of their fucking life. Latvians, I think they were. Yeah, I think they were Latvians.
Yeah.
No,
I just come home. I just come home and I think it was a Formula 1 weekend, so I'd probably been off watching the race. And then I like sat down in a Discord call with like 10 friends and just watched the. I don't know. It's one of those like it felt like watching. I don't know. I think that might be it. But then I remember other stuff like sitting in a tent when I was 13 watching the Cologne Major on a school trip. Like the last of our mobile data, we've managed to watch one map of 2015 Cologne Major. And that one map was a cobble map. The it's the luminosity map where Fallen had that no scope through the doors. It's that one.
Oh, that's not the final of Cologne 2015.
No, it's not the final. I think it's a quarter or semi.
Yeah, it's a quarter. So they didn't make a final until they won one, basically.
Yeah, but that's the last of our mobile data before it ran out for the entire month because we were kids and like Twitch stream. Like at that point you had like 3 gigs and that's a lot, but you could watch one map of Counter-Strike on Twitch. Yeah, back then.
No, you see, I still have a memory of watching like the Cloud9 FaZe game. You know, the Boston Major. I watched that on my phone in my room on a Sunday night. It wasn't a school night because the Boston Major was 2018, right?
Yeah.
2018, 2017, 2018?
2018. Oh, I remember that as well. Yeah.
So I would have been like 21. So it's not school night. No. No, it was 2017, wasn't it? Jesus
Boston
Christ.
was 2018.
2018.
Early 2018.
I don't know why I couldn't get that sorted in my head. But yeah, I remember watching that super late, like just on my phone in my bed, like rather than sleeping, which I definitely should have been, because it was relatively late, if I recall. Well, that was pretty dope. Obviously, every time I go to a major in Europe, I always go with friends, varying in number, sometimes just one, sometimes 3 or 4. Usually end up in a group of people that's massive. Usually end up getting obnoxiously hammered and doing very silly things that are very fun. Like the last one in Budapest, hanging out with some French people. One guy ended up with a coconut. I'm not sure where he got it from. He might have stolen it from a shop. And he then tried to open it on a bollard at like 3 or 4 in the morning whilst drunk. Spills coconut water everywhere when he smashed the thing in half, obviously. And then tries to drink from it. Instead, we end up filling up with rosé, because we had a bottle of rosé from somewhere. And it's just great times. You know, I've got a great video of a drunk French man trying to drink coconut water from a smashed coconut, just for no good damn reason. These are the same guys who also said, "Oh, dude, you should do the Croissant Strike podcast. They always have the same guests. It's getting really repetitive." And I was like, I barely even know the terms in French. I can't be doing a full podcast. Yeah, those sorts of things are really fun.
I have 3 tidbits I've found now in talking. First of all, Alcaren's CT side sniper KPR in DracuLAN 2 with Spirit Academy is lower than youngsters in DracuLAN, so there we have the answer for that. I found the map. It's the best of 1 in the group stage that NV won on Cobble against Luminosity, 1916, in Cologne 2015. That's where we got the no scope. So it wasn't even a playoff game, and that's the one thing we got to watch that before everybody's mobile data ran out. And the third thing I have forgotten. So
great.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next question, because we have a question from GapeGiver, which is still my favorite name in my membership group. That's a brilliant name. The question is, what player has disappointed you most this year? Now, Quack, you're Mr. Optimistic, Mr. Brightside, Mr. Silver Lining. You always seem to have something positive to say, even when the team is clearly fucking terrible. Who has managed to somehow disappoint you this year?
Yeah, I'm actually
ideally Swedish, so that you can actually be negative about a Swede for once.
I'm struggling to find one. Is the thing.
Come on.
No, It's just I don't really the teams that I think have been performing poorly this year. I just don't think are those that I don't particularly liked in the first place. Like not more than like I didn't have any particular expect. I guess because I'm trying to think like okay, so Magix and Zontex haven't really done shit so far, but I wasn't really expecting anything from them either, so they didn't really disappoint me. I might give it to like a Torji. Just I feel like if it was ever gonna, no, it's just not even no. I let me think for a bit. Do you have one like glaring in your mind?
Yeah, and I hate to do it because I'm a huge fan of this player, huge fan.
Yeah.
But so far, 2026, Snappy man, it's just not hit. It's just not hit, and some of it's on you, and I don't like saying it. Like, you know, I don't like saying it. But realistically, NIP have not played up to the level I hoped. Some of that has been on Snappy. I do think that's the case. And so that's one of the players I had the most expectation for. I think a part of this is very much, I was up here with NIP. Like, I was expecting a lot. You know, the final roster, the final piece in place. A team that had shown a lot of promise even without that piece. And it's just kind of fallen off. Like, it's not...
Yeah.
It's not really succeeding the way I'd hoped. So that's one of the big ones for me. I think one of them has to be like just everyone on phase. Like every single player on phase. Like not all of them I had expectations for. Like Karrigan, yeah, whatever. Jacob, Brokey, whatever. But Frozen and Twist just haven't shown up for me this year in the way I hoped they would. Like really validate how much I rated them last year. They haven't. Not even slightly. So they've been disappointing for me. Yeah, if I keep scrolling through the teams as I get deeper into the scene, I'm sure I'll find more. But Quack, you need to put someone forward.
Plopsky. 100% Plopsky. Because Metasport, okay. I didn't have that high expectations for Metasport as a team. I think they are the fourth best Swedish team at the moment. I didn't expect them to be better than they were with Melo 9 after benching him and loaning him out. It's just that Plopsky kind of came back from this break, and I get that maybe Dragon now has some of his preferred positions, but I know he's a strong mechanical player. I know that he probably should be one of the two most skilled players on the current Metasport roster, next to 4C. And yet he's just not really doing anything whatsoever. Like, Isak is like a 103 to a 0.97 is not that much of a difference, but Isak has been nuts on the T sides at least. Like, at least Isak has a bunch of really good performances on one side of the game, while Plopsky is just kind of just nowhere. Like, he had this break from competition where you'd think, oh, he recuperates, he sort of crystallizes, this is what I want, this is how I want to play, this is what I've been doing wrong before, this is what I want to improve. And it's just like, we're up to 50 maps in 2026 with like no roster drama whatsoever. Like, since Plopsky came back, it's been fine. It's not like anybody's talking about buying Dragon or 4C. It's not like anybody's talking about leaving. So what gives? Like, why isn't Plopsky at the very least dropping like a 0.10? Like a 1.10 on this roster? Why isn't that really happening? So
is it because he's maybe not very good?
But he is. Like, you know he's a good mechanic. You know Plopsky throughout his career has at least had some mechanical skill that probably sits above Jaquinho, probably above Dragon.
I mean, probably above Jaquinho is the most insulting thing said about Plopsky on this podcast in all of its incarnations and iterations. But
no,
yes,
but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Like, yes, probably Isak. You'd probably think Plopsky has better mechanics than Isak.
Yeah, he just does. Yeah,
he just does. Like, that's the thing. And yet Isak is the guy who actually drops a 115 on T side. No. In Metasport this year. A fucking 115. His average is a 1.03. It's horrible on the CT side, which is, you know, Isak, the strong anchor. But he's horrible on the CT side so far. But he's really good on those lurks. But what is Plopsky doing? You know, the natural entry player who's actually, you know, one of those like bold predictions that like tier 1 players were heralding in like 2018. Big NIP experience. Comes down to Metasport. Just doesn't really do shit. And like, that's disappointing to me.
Okay. Yeah. Just the final one I would throw in there that's disappointed me. Molodoy. Not exclusively disappointing, but the trend has been too negative for me in certain specific contexts. Like His decision-making on stage has been a problem. He loses the team maps in some cases. Now, I still think he does also win the maps, and he is currently the win condition on Furia. Like, if he's popping off, they actually win games. If he's not, they lose them, and there's no other recourse, it seems. But still, I'd like to see that polished up. I still have him as one of my very best players in the world. Sort of top 8 to 10, top 4 AWPer. But yeah, I'd like to see that step taken. Some more positivity, some more balance, and some more consistency out of our boy Molodoy.
Yeah,
that's kind of the picks. An interesting little question. Like, it has to be a bit negative about some players I am a big fan of. The biggest one obviously being the first one.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Being disappointed implies you have had expectations in the first place. Like, somebody you actually thought was going to be good, which is why it was hard for me. Because like, nobody who I thought was going to be good, because I was correct about everything. Nobody who I thought was going to be good has actually been bad. So, except for Plopsky, you get that honor.
Simplify. But yeah, let's get into Pro League. Speaking of Semper Fi, Pro League has just started. It's barely started.
Yep.
So we're not talking about it ad nauseum. We're just going to touch on a couple of the results so far. Literally just a couple. Quack. We're just going to pick, I think, maybe 2 results that we think are significant or interesting.
Holy
just
shit.
break them down a bit. So anything you want to point out, or should I start?
Yeah, I can start with Gaimin Gladiators winning their pick against Liquid right now.
Is anyone surprised? Is anyone surprised that Liquid are shitting the bed?
Oh, okay, no.
I mean, obviously at this point, me. I could have put them in this category for the last question because I saw so much, like, not so much, but distinct things that could be positive towards the end of last year. And this year, whilst there have been a couple flashes, for the most part, they've just been trash. And a large part of it is just Ultimate cannot play.
Yeah.
He can't play. He's a scrub. Like, he's so bad. And they've just been losing to everyone. And this is...
Elish has been horrible in Pro League so far as well. Oh, no. All right. Results-wise, I think Heroic beating NRG was not a given. But it's nice that they got it done. Once again, coming off the DracuLAN win. Again, a nice little nuke comeback after being down 5-7 at the half. To come back. They obviously had the CT side to do it. But again, it's the same thing as the DracuLAN final. They managed to make it happen.
It's the exact same
nice
scoreline as well. 5-7, 8-3. Like, at some point we just had to accept Quack. I think Nuke might be CT sided.
No,
maybe. I mean, I also...
Teams will still lose that. It's like, on average, the CT side is obviously stronger, but it's also the kind of thing where, like, they also lost 3 in a row here to NRG. That's exactly the kind of thing that can lose you a CT side. I guess 100 teams, it was more like 100 teams won a round. Heroic came back and won 3 more. Then they won a round. You didn't let them get a roll on the T side. NRG actually had like a roll, but Heroic managed to bring it back. That's nice. I don't think it was a given, especially with Grim coming in. Obviously, short notice, maybe not a lot of practice, but I think anything could have happened here, but Heroic did it well. And then I think Astralis beating Heroic and Monty, I think, is, if nothing else, just nice. Because they did it in... Monty are kind of strong. They managed to win one of those maps against Astralis as well. And then Astralis is kind of like... Monty and Heroic are like... they definitely could have beaten Astralis here, and that would have been bad for Astralis. But they just did it in a nice fashion. Not very shaky. Because I can look at everybody else and I can be like, well, Parivision have played overtime and almost lost maps to both of the teams they played, which they definitely shouldn't. Some rounds it just looks like they are absolutely throwing to pain. And then G2 as well as like, how did you bring it? Like, there are a couple of rounds against Gaming Gladiators that are genuinely horrible for G2. And obviously Liquid. Passion UA, I didn't really... Like, it's nice to see Passion UA placed somewhere, but I'm not super impressed so far. So it's like a lot of these teams I can pick out, like, okay, this is a nice win. But Astralis especially, I feel like, are the only ones who have done it, like, no questions asked. There's no question. Maybe them and Foot. Like...
Yeah, Foot taking care of business eventually. Like, it was very close against Passion UA, and I think you're a bit too dismissive of Passion UA. This is a fantastic start for me. Like, Passion UA, they look fairly good. They do look a bit discoordinated in certain moments, but the firepower is monstrous. This is a Passion UA who have, like, you know, we see them making the move, and you're like, oh, they're loading up a bit. Like, they're trying to make a push, trying to get better. They've been very opportunistic in the way they've seized upgrades. Try for Holzerk, Senzu for Grim. Like, these are not trash players on your team, but they are clearly not going to be taking you up to the next level. And they've rolled some pretty fucking, like, not loaded, but some big dice with a lot of fucking faces. But they've pulled out some pretty good numbers so far. I am very impressed with what I've seen from Passion UA so far. Mostly firepower, but also you still see some elements of calling that's good. Some pace changes, some things like that, where I'm like, yeah, JT still has a good team on his hands, and yeah, we're starting to see some pretty scary stuff. Like Senzu, if you watch, just go watch that Mirage game. Holy crap. I mean, he was pretty good on the final map of Dust 2 as well, and he's a 144 for the series, but that Mirage was nuts. So yeah, I would take this Passion UA team very seriously off of what we've seen so far. Yeah, Astralis, I mean, I don't like the fact that actually they get taken into relatively deep water by Monty and Heroic. Like, Monty's fairly good, but Heroic taking you to overtime and then a 13-10, like, you barely scrape past them. I thought they should have done better. I mean, it's good to just keep on taking the wins. You know, they just got to make it to the next stage at the end of the day. It's just about getting the 3 wins rather than 3 losses. But yeah, I'm not too impressed with them so far. I think, for me, one of the big sort of results was today that M80 game against NIP. Because NIP lose Anubis in kind of humiliating fashion. They then play an Ancient where technically they make the comeback happen, but so many rounds, the initial idea just cataclysmically failed. And it was pure firepower digging them out. And, you know, a few sloppy sort of like, you know, team play mistakes from M80. And it's just like, this is why Dust 2 comes around. And again, M80 win comfortably. Like, this NIP team are not playing great CS. I mean, Snappy called it out himself, but just watching them play, I was like, damn, this is not good. This is not good. So I'm genuinely concerned about NIP right now. Sure, they could get a layup matchup. You said they probably going to end up playing Semperfi in that lower game. They cannot lose that. I'm just putting it to put your entire house on NIP to beat them. But at the same time, they need to be held to a higher standard than can you beat Semperfi 2-0. And so far they haven't lived up to it. So yeah, that's one of the big sort of faith shakers of the event so far.
Yeah. I think Passion UA, I think just to touch on that, I think it's good. It's good that they have this result. It's just that for them, it's going to be an adjustment with this new roster, so I wasn't expecting too much in Pro League especially. But I also wasn't expecting them to completely lose because they have very good players. It's just this is nice. Like going 1-1 and playing it close against Foot, yeah, it's very good. It could have been a lot worse. Couldn't have been much better either. I think Astralis, like, I don't really put a lot of stock. They lose Dust 2 in quite a crushing fashion, but they also win 13-3 and 13-5. Like in and Monty are kind of strong. I don't put a lot of weight in that. And then the Heroic series, yeah, it goes to overtime, but Heroic are also on a very nice win streak up ahead of that game.
That doesn't really mean anything to me. Like, I'm sorry, you won a win streak at DracuLAN games. You then come into a game where you're playing against Astralis. Astralis should just be better and should be able to win this game more comfortably. I am still a bit puzzled by some of the calling I see on this Astralis side. Some of the risks they take. They are a little elaborate in ways that they don't need to be. And it can lead them up a blind alley sometimes where they'll be like, we throw half a fake to mid and then fucking bomb through this smoke. And I'm like, why? Just why? Like, they're a bit puzzling sometimes. So no, I do think those losses are indicative of some of their weaknesses. So I wouldn't be too happy with it. I really wouldn't.
Right.
But yeah,
okay.
We'll see what it comes out looking like. They're going to play a really tough team in the next game. It's either going to be Paravision, Foot, or the winner of G2 Legacy, which is probably G2. Like, yeah, we'll see how much those wins have actually equipped them for the big games, because that's going to be a tough game no matter who.
I think they are, yeah, Paravision or Foot is guaranteed, and like if G2 win, it's guaranteed to be Paravision for Astralis.
Okay.
So yeah, I think for a big loss, the only one I can really point to is NIP. I think they've done horrible so far.
Yeah, I think
I've already
MAT can be
kind of
happy
talked
to have
about
gotten
how
that
horrible it
win.
is, but yeah.
Like, MAT can be happy to have gotten that win, and they'll probably take a lot of positives out of it. And they'll hopefully, for them, like, they'll get a good matchup in the next round, maybe even win that. Like, I'm just looking who they might play. You know, MAT might play a Heroic. That's so winnable. It feels winnable after having won that game. And if Liquid somehow make the comeback, they're playing 3D Max. Again, they'll feel like that's winnable. They feel like they've got chances. So
yeah,
there's some optimism for them at the same time, but primarily for me, it is just a bit of a head shaker, a bit of a head scratcher that NIP are losing these games.
Pending Liquid actually losing the series to Gaming Gladiators and the G2 potentially choking to Legacy. NIP are really the only big losers so far, I think. NRG, I think, maybe could have expected some more playing Monty and Heroic. Like I said, I don't think it was a given that Heroic would win that game.
Yeah, they would have liked to have given Monty a bit more of a scrap. Like, they didn't take a map, which... Like, Monty are good, and we rate a lot of their players, and we're it gives me fans, whatever, but NIG showed a lot of pep at, like, prior big events. You know, took some teams the distance. They beat Passion UA at Ace Masters. I mean, it's not quite the same roster. KickOff Stage 1, you know, they beat Astralis. Like, they've taken some legit wins, and they probably hoped they'd get something done against Monty, if anything.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, I think the rest of this stage is going to be interesting. But it's mostly that 1-1 pool which I think is interesting, because the rest is like, we know who's going to be O2, and we know like the guys who are in 2-0 should all make it through. I think I don't think there's any question about that. But that one pool I could see going in a lot of ways, because Pain are looking like they have slightly more hands than they did at the last event, and at the same time M80 as well do. And also Heroic have a clear weakness. Monty find themselves there, like we say, it's a bit of up and down. And we have no idea what's going on with, I think, in my opinion, it's just an enigma what's happening with, you know, G2, Legacy, and Liquid. At this point, I could put them kind of anywhere, depending on how the games they have left to play
G2 should go through. If they don't go through, fire someone. But yeah,
but then you have Legacy.
I see the point.
Yeah, but then you can... Then you put Legacy in the 1-1 pool, and they beat NIP, and maybe they, like, let's say they take a map off of G2 and they end up in that 1-1 pool. Then again, that's another question mark. Where do we place Legacy? If Liquid managed to somehow lose the series, we have Gaming Gladiators there. What does that mean? If Liquid win the series,
that's not a fact.
Yeah, but
not a fact.
Hey,
they're not a factor. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Start hypothetical, a million hypotheticals about teams who are just not good. Let's get back to the Q&A. We have a question from Snake196, which is, let's see, what events and players are you most excited about over the season this year, season, year, whatever. We'll just extend just year, I guess. So what events and what players are you most excited about, Quack?
Huh.
Which random ass Swedish LAN are you going to promote this time?
There's no particular tier 1 event I'm super excited for. I think Astana could be interesting, considering how many teams skipped Atlanta. I think that could be an interesting one. I'm excited about the major, obviously. I've mentioned some excitement about the Esports Nations Cup. I think that could go either way. To be either kind of fucking awesome or just very horrible. I suspect it'll be the latter, but it's going to be interesting to see either way. Singapore major, cool location, cool major. Other than that, no, tier 1 is just kind of run of the mill. I think there's a bunch of cool. I think honestly, stake ranked is a cool concept to do, like something which feels like the old DreamHack Opens, where you're going to get like the 18th to 40th ranked teams playing for basically a major spot. Which is quite cool and a bit unique. So that I kind of like for like a tier 2 side. And then I think we just have a bunch of fun little VRS Cups. I love these VRS Cups. I think it's really fun to keep up with them. So
yeah,
I think maybe the most exciting one is Journey, because it's slightly bigger. It's going to have some bigger teams, and it has some bigger implications than DracuLAN has, especially considering how close to the major cutoff it's going to be. So it's a very exciting race for who gets that major spot, wrapping up in just the end of March. It's not just that event, like BC Game Masters play a part in that as well. There's another DracuLAN, I think, and then a bunch of more smaller ones that, like the parking ones, all of these are going to play a part, quite a major part. And well, it's very exciting to shake it out. But if there's one I have to pick, I think it would be Journey, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about really events. I'm gonna be honest. Knowing what's going on in the bloody calendar and schedule isn't my thing. I just kind of vibe week to week, seeing what's going on, and I'm just watching games. But teams excite me. Teams do excite me. I'm low key still kind of hyped a little bit for Gentlemates. Just a little bit for Gentlemates. Big is a big one for me. Like they have like Blame F, they have Grix, they've got some really interesting players to watch. I'm really excited for that team coming in the coming events. Focus, having just assembled, already qualifying for a real event in Bucharest, is absolutely awesome. And whilst so far Jorko has yet to really fire a damn bullet, it seems, the rest of the roster is playing really well, and they're just loaded with players I'm fascinated by and interested in. So yeah, on top of that, Passion UA just assembled what I think dark horse to be like one of the 8 best teams in the world this year. I think even higher. There's a part of me that thinks they're actually going to reach like top 6. And they're going to be better than Aurora, better than Na'Vi, better than G2 at moments as well. Like they're actually going to be really fucking good. And it's going to be funny for me. And I'll start retweeting my own try video about 100 times. So yeah, I'm excited for a lot of these teams. There's a lot of talent right now in the scene. I'm excited for whoever the fuck signs Xiphon. Because yes, it seems like he got benched for being a dickhead. To be fair, he came off an event where they got eliminated, basically in last place, after a series where he drops like 90 fucking kills and nobody else could be bothered to pick up the damn mouse. I'd be a cunt too. So yes, Sashi, he probably was an insufferable prick after that series. You fucking deserved it. I don't care. I just don't care. Someone sign Xiphon. My toxic king. Get him on a team. That's what I'm looking forward to this year.
Yeah. I would as well. Now, players and teams, I can pick any number of them. Focus, they aren't really part of our show notes, but to give them a nod.
But yeah, that's why I thought it would be a good time to shout them out.
Yeah. Very exciting. I thought they looked very cohesive, just like team play wise, despite being quite newly assembled. But I think they've had about 2 or 3 months to practice. But they a lot of the time you have squads who have had 2 to 3 months to practice with their new lineup.
Look like shit. Yeah.
They look like shit. But like, yeah, these guys were like outplaying eyeballers in terms of like mid rounds and stuff. And again, eyeballers aren't like the best tactical side, but it's still a side that played together for a long time. You wouldn't expect a completely fresh squad to be able to do that. So that was nice. At least as much as they were doing it. But like
moved in silence, I guess.
Yeah. 100 Thieves, Passion UA, Alliance, definitely Alliance. I'll have to say.
Oh yeah, the way they've been looking with Melo 9, especially how Melo 9's been looking on that team, but not only that, but like the new Arvid role, that's kind of been sick. Era's still like playing decently, which is always a shock.
Era, I'll say, has stepped up. Era is better now. Like Era is even better than he was last year, and Era was never bad. Thing about Era, he has been bad at times, but like Era, thing about Era, I think Era's best and worst quality is his playstyle, because he goes for repeaks and he plays this really like, he always wants to go for the repeak, and a lot of the time before he couldn't really back it up, but this year so far he can actually really back it up. He still goes for these like stupid repeaks. Like he takes a shot, gets a frag, he wants another one, and a lot of the time he's gonna get it. So there's something new here which actually like feels really good about the squad as a whole as well, not just with Melo 9, but it's obviously a lot on him. 100 Thieves, I like Focus, I like Eyeballers. I still really love Eyeballers. I like Bob XD, I like Dex, I like Maxter, I like Rolf especially. In a couple of the recent series, Rolf has been clutch as fuck, and that's really nice to see that. He probably, like those 4 are probably like, aside from Poi and Melo 9, in terms of proper tier 2 play, they're probably the best players in their roles in Sweden at the moment. And the fact that all 4 of them are on the same team is kind of nuts. But yeah, it is just that opposition, which is a bit, I think that about does it. There's nobody really in tier 1. I guess Fury are always fun. Molodoi is always fun.
One of those
consuming
fun.
this.
I mean, Vitality, I still want to keep watching them. Like, as much as I will continue to piss ZywOo fans off with my correct opinions, my opinion about Vitality as a whole is nothing but resoundingly positive. Like, they are super fucking good. Hence why he's gifted so many MVPs without having to be particularly dominant. But no, there's some other teams who are some other teams who actually do one who could have some excitement. Astralis, Foot. I still hold some hope for Cobra Zero Mongols. Like, I did have some pretty big things to say about him when he got signed. So yeah, let's see how that shakes out. Let's get on to another question. This one from sheyl, who has been in chat. I'm not sure if it still is, or they still are rather. But the question goes: to what degrees do you think Hallie is a fraud, and which Coach IGL duo should be in Spirit instead? And now this is the $15 trillion question, because it's a bit weird to pinpoint where everything's supposed to actually go wrong in Spirit. Because for me, I've always been very contrarian when it comes to the mainstream narrative that Chopper is the worst thing to have ever happened to Russian CS in the entirety of its history. That kind of was where the community was at before his benching, and I thought you lot were drama queens, quite frankly, whining over nothing. And realistically, there was no upgrade in the scene, and he wasn't even that bad in the first place. But anyway, the other part of it was Hallie is credited by a lot of people as being a genius coach because of clips they see. As a old man, I don't watch any of them. I don't watch any of this shit. Whenever people are like, oh, you only think he's a great coach because of the vlogs, I'm like, I don't watch the vlogs. I don't watch any vlogs for any team. So I have no opinion based on vlogs. I just see what I see and say what I say. And Hallie, what I do notice is the amount of times he, in an interview, claims that he fucked everything up. A lot of that is running interference. But at some point, you've got to stop, because it's got to be something going wrong. And if you claim it's only ever you, I might start believing you. Now, I don't think he's a fraud to the extent that I think the question wants to imply. Or that might have been implied by the question, or inferred, rather, by the question based on what I've said in the past. I don't think he's particularly big fraud. I think he might actually be a decent coach. Especially good at prep and ante, and setting up a really good game plan that can be executed to beat specific teams and opponents. And that's been especially true when the team wasn't loaded to the gills with firepower. But I still think there is something to be said for the community as a whole overrating him. Seeing things like he's the best coach in the world seems a bit far. Second best in the world still seems a bit far-fetched. I think he's probably in the top 5, like 5th, maybe 4th, depends on the year. And I think he probably is starting to regret, maybe not regret, but starting to feel the repercussions of believing in himself a bit too much, that he can prep everything perfectly. Because not only is it time and time again bitten him in the arse according to him, but now he's trying to fucking coach at Magic's IGL, and I'm just like, this is just a terrible fucking idea. It feels like Blade and his master plans type shit, you know?
Yeah.
You might be hoisted by your own petard at this point. Like, I'm not sure about this one, fam.
In the sense of the word fraud, at this point, this man has been hired by Spirit in some capacity or other for 7 years, and he's just done this stuff. You know, Team Spirit know in and out what Hallie is as a coach at this point. And if so, in that sense, like, he's not defrauding Team Spirit. Like, he's not doing that. Because they know what they're getting.
The reason I answered the question that I did is because everyone just uses fraud and overrated interchangeably.
Yeah.
Like how people interchangeably use I disagree with you with you're a fascist. Like, it's just one of those things with, we know what you actually mean. You're just throwing words out here and rendering those words meaningless. So, yeah, like, in this context, he's more overrated than necessarily an entire fraud. He's not pretending to be a coach. Like, he's going to do an interview in 5 years, like, never heard of Counter-Strike, but...
No. But what I mean is more like Spirit. Surely Spirit aren't sitting here waiting for Hallie to do better. Like they know what they're getting. If there's anybody here who's fraudulent in that sense, if Hallie is doing a bad job, it's the manager for not sacking him. Like it's if in that sense of the word, like if they didn't want what Hallie was putting down, then they wouldn't have kept him on a payroll for 7 years. So in that sense, I think Hallie, whatever they see in Hallie, because they know a lot more about Hallie and his coaching than either of you and I do. If they're happy with that, then they're happy with that, and they obviously think the problem lies elsewhere. Maybe with the caller, maybe with the other players, maybe with anyone not named Donk or Shiro. Like whatever. That's for fucking Team Spirit's manager to decide.
I think Donk could do more. As the eternal wisdom of old heads who watch traditional sports would imply, if he's not winning, clearly he's not doing enough. So why is he winning MVPs? Why is he Player of the Year? Clearly trash. He didn't win.
Yeah. No, I think in the end, if there's anybody who doesn't know what they're doing, it's the team manager. Because I can't even really blame Hallie. What Hallie does probably works. It probably works under the right circumstances. I would honestly more so put it on. At this point, I'd put it more on the managers for not giving him those circumstances. Because he's just been there for that long. Like if he was a fresh hire, like if he'd had 6 months with Chopper and now a couple of months with Magix and nothing happened, then yeah, it might be his fault. But at this point, it's like, no, he worked with them for like 7 years. Like it's a long time. It's like TC is not a fraud because he doesn't succeed with JT because he's been with him for 9 years. No, it's not like JT is gonna wake up one day and think TC is too bad. Like at this point, he knows what he's getting, and he's like, "Well, I thought he was gonna get better, but I gave him a chance, but it just didn't work out." No, JT and TC think each other are perfect. That's why they keep working together for 9 fucking years or whatever it is now. So, in that sense, I think Spirit are happy with what Hallie's doing, and I would blame Spirit as an org more than I would Hallie as a person.
Okay. Yeah,
personally.
As far as the second part of it, like the ideal duo, I'm not sure. I could make a case, like if you want to all-time case, like you want to say all-time, what like 2 people could you combine? Like, I think maybe actually just putting in like Prime Angel into the team might just be the solution. Or just doing something nuts like a Blade Boomich duo, if you could somehow. But otherwise, it's like, I'm kind of okay. I was okay with Chopper Hallie. I didn't have a problem with Chopper Hallie. I thought you could bring back Zontix if you believed in the role fit more, and Chopper Hallie would be about as good as it can get in the Russian-speaking scene for now, and I'd been okay with it. I wasn't that offended by Chopper's calling. His fragging, yes, but yeah, that's what.
Have you seen Von Duss's video?
I have, and he is a horrific player, mechanically.
Yeah. I think... Yeah, no. I'm not sure they could do much better. Right now, there's nobody in the Russian scene who I think sticks out as a significantly better caller, just up for grabs. Because Boomedge's Bet Boom squad isn't doing that hot. Like you can't just point to Boomedge being a genius. I have no idea who's calling for Hotu, but they're also losing some games they shouldn't at the moment. Same thing with like K27 or Nemiga. I don't really see Nemiga right now. Who the fuck even is the caller? But it's I can't really. It's not like somebody sticks out or like stands out as yes, this is the obvious replacement. As if they did, that's
it's Lear, obviously
instead of Mir.
It's Lear. Everyone must sign Lear. Lear will fix it all. Yeah.
Well, they can't. He's back on Amiga with a new contract and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. But no, it's always funny to talk about spirit changes. 100 different spirit changes to get Donk his fucking era. It'll happen someday. Right. Cock of the week. Quack. Tell me who's been selected. Is it someone related to the last question? Because I just realized it probably is, based on what you told me.
It is! How did you know? This is Overdrive, Team Spirit's scout. The talent scout, the man responsible for finding Donk and Kyusuke and Alcaran. Has once again spewed out his opponents onto the internet. Here is Oki Here's my top 10 tier 1 coaches, one by one. Number 1, Blade. Number 2, Hallie. Number 3, Cyclone. Number 4, Saw. Number 5, Ash. 6, Mara. Extas, 7. Siddh is 8. Dastan is 9. And then Fierce of Team Betboom and 9 Pandas fame is number 10. What do we think about this list?
Right, it's not actually the end of the fucking planet. Let's put it that way. Like, I know the reaction was to meme on this a bit because he has done some hilariously overdrive shit, such as claim Spirit are sexual god tier geniuses with Hallie at 2, which is kind of what I referred to in the earlier comments I made about him being slightly overrated. He's also done some hilariously dumb shit, like put Fierce in at 10. Why?
Yep.
Upon what basis? I know, because you know him. Some parts of the list are based and honestly just good. Like Cyclone at 3, I think is too low, but still at least you have him at 3. Xtaz at 7, like unless Apex is your GOAT IGL without fucking compare, you can't have Xtaz at 7. Like you can't. That's just idiotic. So that makes no sense. Ash 5, Mara 6, both above Xtaz is crazy. After Saw's run with G2, you're telling me you still have him solid top 4, 5 ahead of some of these names? It's whatever. But hey, if you don't agree, you are a beginner in CS. Thank you, Overdrive, for your wisdom as always. This is, yeah, I mean, it's one man's opinion, so whatever. Like, who cares? But if Hallie really is the second best coach in the world, damn, everyone on that Spirit team not named Donk is fucking dog shit.
Yeah, that is the implication. I'd be interested to know
a bit extreme. That's a bit extreme. I still would have Hallie at like 5, probably if I made a list. But because I just spent that whole thing saying he's not that overrated, he's not that much of a fraud. But still, my point remains: like having Hallie over Cyclone, like bro, what? I don't get it. As far as coaching jobs, one's had a crazy fucking. I mean, you know, not everyone had Cyclone as the number 1 last year, but still, like crazy.
I think the only reason why he made the list was to dunk on Xtas, because earlier in the same day he had this take, which I think a lot more people saw. Xtas said that ZywOo does 10 times more for the team than Donk does, but he forgot to add to his take that other top teams' coaches do 10 times more work than Vitality coach does. And then the next tweet was, bait succeeded, smiley face. But like he's basically implying that, so Xtas said something about ZywOo putting in a lot more work. His implication was that Xtas does nothing compared to other teams. So it's kind of like it's just it's a whiny thing in the end, based on an interview that Xtas said. But do you think ZywOo does that much more than Donk adds to the team?
I mean, maybe it gives a great back rub, but on the server, no, not even fucking, like, in terms of the actual play, no. There's only so much you can fucking say at the end of the day. Pointing and clicking is the game. And that's just not true. Now, look, Xtaz is fucking tonguing his own player's anus. Of course he is. It's his fucking player. Like, it's just...
Yeah. Same as Overdrive does.
Overdrive is glazing the fuck out of his friends. Like, this just...
Yeah.
Like, these are industry people yapping bullshit. It's like when you watch an NBA podcast and everyone who happens to be fucking part of the agency LeBron James owns and represents, all of a sudden there's all these fucking opinions about how LeBron James is the greatest thing since sliced bread and probably would be the goat of fucking NASCAR if he fucking tried. Yeah, you're not surprised, right? You're not really that bothered. You're like,
no.
People who there's a whole like subgenre of YouTubers who make their money making 10-minute sort of reaction videos to these sorts of things. And I see them every now and then. I'm like, they're a good laugh sometimes, but they get tiresome real quick because it's the same points regurgitated. Same thing here. Like, I'm not gonna lose sleep over Ali and Xtaz being biased towards their guys. Like, yeah, so what?
No, not particularly. It's just funny. I do like that Fierce made it in. It's an interesting because I also know Zonic.
Arlington.
I also know. I also know Overdrive really doesn't rate Falcons whatsoever. I think in part maybe because of Kyosuke and everything, or whatever. But he left Zonic entirely off the list. I think it's also just funny. Like, there's a lot of people who would agree with him that Zonic is not one of the 10 best coaches in the world right now. Maybe even you. And I probably...
I mean, he might sneak a 10, you know, if he's lucky.
Yeah, he might sneak a 10. But the more Foot play, the more I think Coolio might get that spot, though, to be honest. But yeah, anyway.
Coolio's done a good job. But right, let's get into the next question. Which is from Sid.
Speaking of.
Yeah, speaking of Sid, but not that Sid. Sid has asked us, let me just open it up because I have not got it open in front of me. Do you think Falcons made a mistake benching Magisk instead of Tesses for Kyosuke? Now, Sid actually asked, said a lot more than that, but I cut it down because the rest of it wasn't a question. It was Sid's personal analysis, which, whilst fascinating, that's not the point of a question. So let's talk about it. Quack. It seems pretty obvious in hindsight that Magisk was a better player to keep than Tesses for Kyosuke's roles. Well, to play alongside Kyosuke in terms of his own roles. I'm pretty sure I made the case, and everyone else and their mum made the case at the time, that this was true as well. I don't think there's ever been a point where the consensus was that Tesses was the correct player to keep. Do you have anything to say against that? Like, is there something I've missed? Is there a trend or a thought that I've overlooked? Like, I'm pretty sure this has been consensus from day one. It's just been a question of how much can Tesses improve and adapt.
I think it's right. It should have been. Look, do I think if we were sitting here almost a year from the benching of Tesses for Kyosuke with Magisk still on the roster, do I think Magisk would have elevated the team that much more? No. I think he would be a more natural role fit, but it's not like he was grossly outperforming what Tesses is doing right now in those anchor positions. They're actually remarkably similar, even if it's maybe not 100% overlap. They're very, very similar, at least, you know, rating wise and KPR wise. So, and both of them are quite poor. Like, Magisk was not particularly good on Falcons prior to Kyosuke coming in, or prior to being replaced rather. So I think he would massively elevate the team. Is it a massive mistake? In hindsight, not really. Like, Magisk wasn't playing that hot. I don't think he would have gotten that much better. Would it be better on paper? Yeah. Would it be better because you would have a more natural decision to make when replacing Magisk eventually, as you might do quite soon with Tesses? Yeah, probably. It would probably be easier to sell that spot to somebody else, to an incoming player. So, yeah, I think it was a mistake. It's not like I'd lose sleep over it if I was Falcons.
Yeah, so the interesting thing to discuss here really is how much better would they be? Like, that's the part to really touch on. Yeah, it's pretty much consensus that yes, the better player to keep probably for the roles is Magisk. But again, you've made a case that the performance difference isn't that huge. The one thing I think that makes a big difference is, I think with Magisk in the team, Zonic is more of a coach because he has someone there from his time on Stralis, from the time on Vitality, who has a great deal of respect, and also himself is the kind of guy who is used to holding players accountable, being something of a leadership figure, like not necessarily directly in IGL, but at least having a voice in teams. Magisk has always been very vocal. He's always been very no-nonsense as well, from what we've seen in terms of behind-the-scenes clips and the occasional interview, and also just like when I've seen him on stage, like the way he talks, the way he commands like a bit of authority in the team. Like, there is something to be said for Magisk probably having a positive impact on things Falcons specifically do poorly right now, which is typically discipline related. So I think there is a case to make that this team is noticeably better, not because of any firepower difference, because of better role balance, and also, quite importantly, some much needed sort of authority in the team. Like, just that doesn't feel quite present right now. So, no, I do think the ceiling of the team is is higher. Does it mean that the peaks they've had where they've made a best of 5 final and lost it 3-2, does that go the other way? Potentially. It's no guarantee, but it's potentially real. So yeah, I would have liked to have seen it go the other way. I still think Tessis does a good enough job and isn't like the reason that Falcons lose games at the end of the day. Like, it is overall players, all types of players on this team, like role players, IGLs, stars, AWPers, everyone just makes poor decisions in key clutch moments. And also, they've had a fairly strong trend of dropping off in playoffs where they really weren't looking like a weak team in groups. All of a sudden, players will just disappear in those playoff games. So, yeah, I think they are. Yeah, it's a game of margins in terms of how much better they are. Because right now, it doesn't feel like the key loss condition is often Tessis. It's more, m0NESY was a 130, now he's a 106. Nico was tolerable in groups and now has had a .88 playoff series. That's the sort of thing going wrong. The key win conditions disappearing rather than a loss condition being a massive problem.
I don't think Magisk changes that, is the thing. Like, because we, as much as he is, yes, a vocal player, as much as he is, in that sense, a bit of a rock. Testis is also one of those guys that I think has always had a reputation for.
He's not an authority. He's not authority.
No, not an authority, but he's.
Yeah. Yelling when you win a round is not what I'm talking about. Being loud, being authoritative. That's not what that is. Yelling is not.
Jax, I think.
That's just yelling. That's not leadership.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
That's not what I need in the team.
Oh. Okay, yeah, fair.
High fives and nice is fucking. So every cunt does.
He doesn't get high fives anymore. They don't. They high five everyone except for Tessis.
But you know what I mean? Like, screaming nice is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about grabbing someone by the scruff and being like, "The fuck are you doing?" That's not Tessis's energy in the slightest. Tessis's energy off the server is like fucking the most niche Arrested Development fucking reference possible, which like when they're sad and the sad music plays and they just hunch their shoulders down and walk off. That's Tessis after every game, bro. Like, it's not the same.
Yeah, fair. No, there's I don't think it changes too much. So all in all, no, it's the same. What could change? Hey, everybody's talking about Nico IGL. What about Magisk IGL? Opening up a third option for Kicksan not calling this team.
Which is obviously the problem. Like, what we don't want is Kicksan and IGL calling.
That would be, if Magisk was still here, that would be like babies first. Actually, I have a better idea of armchair analysts would be, like me, would be to say, actually, Nico shouldn't be calling. It should be Magisk. And they should kick Kicksan and sign a star player instead and have 4 star. Like, that's the kind of thing that somebody like me would say if they still had Magisk.
Yes.
But they don't.
A genuinely terrible idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Our next question is not a question, but we're going to treat it as a question. From RichelRickes, it's foot minus symmetry plus s1mple is a top 3 team, I believe, is the proposition made. It's a top 3 team. Yeah, top 3 team. Change my mind. So we're going to interpret that as a question. Is foot without symmetry and adding s1mple a top 3 team? Quack, I will let you take the lead on this one. Do you think that's a top 3 team?
No. I don't think so. Look, is symmetry with the best player, the best opper in the world right now? No. Is he anywhere near a top 3 opper right now? No. I don't even, like, he's probably the weakest player on the team at the moment. Is s1mple in better form at the moment? Yeah, kind of. Like, yeah, he's doing a good job on BC game. It's a lot of it is lower level play, but he's up there. He's up there. Krakow wasn't bad. Good job. Do I think s1mple is the player that you can plug into a team and expect to work? No, because that's been tried and it doesn't really work. Like, honestly, now the more that I think about it, it's
used
like,
to be,
if there's any player,
but not in CS2.
What did it even used to be?
Yes, it fucking did. The number of events that guy showed up to, like 2015, 2016, as a stand-in, dicked people and took shit tier rosters to relevance was crazy.
Because I was gonna say Liquid. That's nice, but it didn't work. Like he was cut for a reason. And that was early days.
It only got Elige his top major placing in his career. That's all it did. That's all it did. He only made
That's
top
more
4
about
and
Elige,
the
I
grand
think.
final of a major. Like, come on, bro. You can't say it didn't work. Are you high?
No. He was cut for a reason, and that's old simple. He changed. He's not a bad guy anymore, etc., etc. In recent history, he's been on Falcons twice. Neither of them worked. He was on FaZe, and he was okay. Like, it was a nice FaZe lineup. Again, they didn't want to keep him for whatever reason. And now he's on BC Game, also kind of just shoved into a team that was one team when he joined, and now has 0 players in common with that old roster. And neither of them have really looked all that inspired. Like, he's playing well, and they're winning some games because of him, but they're not really making the major because of that. It's the thing, like, so do I, like, I'm pound for pound, obviously, the way Simple is playing right now and the player that Simple is and what he could add to a team like Foot, yes, obviously, I would make them maybe top 3 on paper. But I just don't think Simple is the kind of guy who that is going to work for long term, especially with a team like Foot.
Okay. So I decided in my head, whatever way you went, I would try to make the counter argument, just out of curiosity, interest for myself. So here's the thing. Unfortunately, you've gone in a really weird direction with your count, like your decision. Say they're not top 3, like on the basis that Simple coming into a team in the past has not been successful. Is, as I presented to you, absurd just on the surface. He has come into teams and completely changed them around. Now in CS2, typically that hasn't gone well, and the BC Game example just isn't the same thing because he joins BC Game because they're going to build around him. It's not like he came into the project, Superman. Like, no, he's just here to wait it out till they start fucking trying. And then eventually they do with this Saw move, which is VRS points, but as we've discussed, incredibly mishandled. As far as the events they've actually attended, they've just done a terrible job of min-maxing the VRS system. Simple added to Foot. The thing is, a lot of the conflicts people often have with Simple, and the reason they don't like it, in CS2 especially, because in CS2 his gameplay isn't quite prime Simple. It's not really how he played. In a lot of ways, he has had a tendency to be more conservative, have less of that just absurd confidence. So in CS2, the way I've seen his gameplay, especially recently, let's just talk BC Game for now, is he's going to take CT openers. He's going to take some risks, throw in the flare on the CT opening front. T-side is going to bait and play for the late game. He's going to pick a couple angles, try and find a couple trades, but generally he's going to play in the late stage of the round and try to close them out more than he tries to open them up. Like, he still takes some openers, but it's not the same. It's not prime Simple. Symmetry basically plays that way on this team. On CT side, he'll try some opening ideas that do have a little bit of flair, that have a little bit of risk associated with them. Like, he will go for lower tunnels pushes with the AWP on CT side Dust 2. He will try to challenge T-side's defaults and T-side's setups. He will try to take risks. He will try to push the boat out. And on T-side, we've talked about this 100 times with Symmetry. He's actually pretty damn good in the clutch with a rifle. He's playing for the late round. Like, in terms of where Simple would fit into this team, it all makes sense. Like, the way his current style looks and the way he'd try to fit in with his team. Like, sure, he'd still try more stuff. He'd try to be more involved in Symmetry, but he wouldn't be obtrusive. Like, he wouldn't be getting in the way of this team. So I actually think the fit is pretty nice. And firepower-wise, obviously, he's going to punch a lot harder. He's already punching a lot harder than Symmetry is, especially on the AWP, where Symmetry isn't very impressive, to say the least. Like, a number of times he takes those picks, he just dies. That's a problem at times. Now, the part of this that kind of trips it all up, though, because as much as I have been positive and I've given a far more positive account of basically the idea, it falls down when you have to say top 3. Because then we have to look at what the team is around Simple. And I have a lot of faith in Jugs, Demon, Crabany, Laonex as a team growing and developing, becoming something real. For now, they are not playing like a top 3 team. Because being one of the 3 best teams in the world would mean they'd play consistently on stage. They'd have to play a lot of games against really good opponents. They'd have to play a lot of close games, a lot of overtimes, places where they've already looked frail and unable to close. It's not like currently they are a consistent playoff threat, is it? We're talking about a significant upgrade, especially in the hardest possible settings. We're not talking about, oh, you have to get from 50th to 20th. That's actually relatively trivial compared to being from 12th to 3rd. That's an insane jump to make. That is going from medium to extreme difficulty. And I just don't think they're ready for it. If a simple type player does come in at the AWP and they're all of a sudden so much more threatening in that aspect, sure, I would give them 8th to 5th. Like somewhere in that range they could fall, and it wouldn't be absurd. Wouldn't be too absurd. It'd still be quite an impressive feat. But as it stands, no, they are not proven enough. They've not done enough. They've not shaken off the sort of weakness that comes with being a fresh, young set of players, guys who haven't been tried and tested. They are not tempered steel. They are brittle. They will break. So I like the idea. I like the sentiment that you can upgrade this position and Foot take another step. But for now, Foot are a team, I'm just leaving. Let them settle. Let them test themselves. Keep beating the Liquids of the world, the Astralises of the world. Keep getting this close to making the playoffs because you lost to an actually decent team. Maybe make your playoff debut and see how everyone holds up. Then we can talk about potentially making a symmetry move, especially if no one's come and poached all your fucking players by then. So yeah, that's kind of my take from that question.
I could see it. In my mind, it's a personality thing. If it was Molodoy, if it was Molodoy, also sort of like the same, maybe not the same kind of, but similarly proactive kind of opera, I'd absolutely take it. But in the same way, I don't think Aragorn or Crazy are getting any better by having s1mple and Electronic yell at them every game when they lose a round. I don't think Jugs or fucking Crabbenny would get any better if they had s1mple yelling at them every time they played a game.
It's far too generous to Crazy and Aragorn. Just not on caliber. But whatever.
Okay. Foot and Crazy and Aragorn just can't really get much worse. I think Jugs and Crabbenny probably would get worse. And like outright worse if s1mple was calling them fucking idiots every time they lost a round. Which is basically what I think would happen. And like this is one of the things that I think is failing in BC Game is that, you know, I don't think s1mple and Electronic have the same respect for their teammates that they would have or that they had rather for, say, Perfecto and Boomich, like players that they, you know, or Bit even, these kind of players that they had a lot of respect for, and they would like, yeah, Boomich says something, we're gonna do it, we're gonna play with that call because we respect it and we know your stuff, etc. etc. Same way I think s1mple has had a lot of respect for playing with like Kerrigan, playing with the Leash, playing with like Frozen and that phase roster. Like, yeah, if they call for a play, I'm gonna do it there. But when he's playing with fucking Crazy and Aragorn, and Crazy goes, "Yo, can you flash me in?" s1mple is not gonna fucking like. It's not in s1mple is not like, yeah, I respect that. I respect that as a teammate. It's that sort of thing. And then when Crazy obviously dies on the peak anyway, he's gonna be mad at him and he's not gonna do it the next time. That kind of thing is the thing that I think is failing in BC Game. That would still be failing in Foot, 100%. So for that sense, like, if it was Molodoy, maybe. Again, it's like we're talking top 3, that high up. You can have to think like who would be ahead of them. So in the current ranking, they would be past Falcons. That I think is being past Falcons, Mouse, and Perivision. I think maybe is a little bit too much to ask, but
just a little bit.
It's just a personality thing. It's just a personality thing. I don't think s1mple in particular would work. Like, give me any other opper with a similar rating, like with a similar skill level. Molodoy, I think, is an example. Comes to mind. Yeah, maybe. But otherwise, no. I also think this team is very dependent on chemistry.
There's just there is no AWPer you're plugging and playing into this team that makes them top 3. And if you don't believe s1mple can do it, there is no reason to believe anyone else can, bar maybe ZywOo. If you think maybe ZywOo could make this team top 3, I wouldn't crucify you for the same extent. But I think it is absurd to imply that s1mple's toxicity is what's limiting BC Game and that would limit this team. Fuck no.
I don't like that word. I don't like that word. It's not what is limiting BC Game either, because that's fucking Crazy and Aragorn. But it's something which is holding them back. It's one thing which is going to cause a ceiling for them.
How is that not limiting? That's the definition.
It's not the one thing. Like, it's not the one thing. It's not the one thing. It's not the thing limiting them. It's a factor. It's a factor why I think they can't improve. Why this roster is doomed. And if they're going to make changes, they might as well do it now.
They're going to make changes. Like, they are going to make changes. That was never a question, is it? Like,
they should have done it yesterday. There was no reason to play with this roster beyond the 5 games you needed to place the team. No reason whatsoever.
There is one. There's no one else to fucking sign. That's the reality.
I think
isn't it?
my hot take on this question is I think Foot actively get worse if they sign s1mple.
I think that's a terrible take, but that's okay. Let's get into the games because it's almost 2 hours in and I'm hungry.
Yeah, so am I.
We're going to start with yours. You have done us a little game of odd one out. And I was fascinated by this because I've peeked at it because I'd set up the graphic, but I didn't think too much about it. I just saw what it was. So can I put it up on screen now?
Yeah, let me just watch it appear and I'll walk you through. Yes, we have 8 players. So to explain the game for those who haven't seen it before, you are going to get 3 questions about these players. And it can be attribute. It can be where they're from. It can be an achievement they've had. It could be if they have an S in their name, whatever the case. I will say yes or no about who is the odd one out. And eventually you have to guess who the odd one out player is and why. It's fairly simple. So you go ahead and let's knock some of these down.
Okay.
And to explain to the listeners, the 8 players we have
are
all in liquid jerseys.
Yes, they are Nitro, Fallen, Yekindar, Twists, OC, Elige, Rainwaker, and Grim. All in there. Fantastic variations of the liquid jersey, which at times has been pretty dope and at times has been utterly vile and boring. Let's go. Okay, how many of these guys have played in a major final? Fallen, of course, certainly has. Twists has. Elige has. Yeah, he has with s1mple. As has Nitro. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to cut it in half. Has the player played in a major final?
Let me double check this, but I am fairly sure that they have. I'm going to say yes. Yes.
The one I'm unsure about is actually Nitro, but they have, so in any case.
So the players
he did,
right,
yeah.
So we can knock off Rainwaker, OC and Grim, I believe.
And Yekindar. Right? Hang on, let me check Yekindar. He's the one. He's one I'm also unsure about. So I forgotten about something. I'm pretty sure he didn't play a final. He didn't play a final. Yeah. I'm not missing some weird James-esque thing. So I can knock 4 off.
Was Nitro on that, Cologne?
He was. Yep. Nitro, Fallen, Twists, Elige. Okay, has this player played under Carrigan in phase? Just in case there's some weird show match bullshit somewhere I missed.
No, they have. So we can knock off.
Yeah, goodbye Nitro and Fallen. Goodbye Nitro. It says Twists and Elige. So I've got 1 question left. Okay.
Easy one you could ask here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of easy questions I can ask here, but I can ask also funny questions. Let me see. Okay, screw it. I'll just keep it simple. In the picture presented, does the player have hair on their head?
I knew that's what you were going to ask. No, they do not have hair.
Okay, so the odd one out is Elige. And
yes.
now I have to think, why? Why Elige?
Yes. This is the thing. You might get it. It's been a talking point in the week. But you might also not get it.
A talking point, what, like on broadcasts that I wasn't listening to?
Well, just, in the ethos.
Okay, because if it's some... I probably haven't seen it then, because I am criminally offline. Let me see. So, I'm thinking about this. Okay. I think Elige played... Is Elige the... I've got a feeling Elige is the only one who has played with everyone else on the screen. Because Elige obviously made his name initially with Nitro. He then played with Fallen in the Liquid iteration, I'm pretty sure. He played with the Kindar version when Yekindar came in to teach him how to play CS. Played with Twists, obviously. He played with OC. He played with Rainwaker briefly. And, of course, with Grim when he cucked him of his roles. And any pride. But that feels like... Okay, technically that's correct, but I don't think that's the reason you've chosen him, is it? Just to check. That's not the reason. So I'm not saying that's officially a guess, because I'm technically right. But that's not the reason he's the odd one out, is it?
There's probably a bunch of things that Elish is the odd one out on. He's probably the only one who's half Polish. So like you could
Fair.
give a lot of things here, but like if you can find one of those, I'll give you half a point. But you might actually find the real one as well. And I'm just gonna double check because I also think he did play with Rainmaker.
Yeah, he did. He's the only one who's played with all of them. I'm pretty sure. Oh no, maybe
No, I didn't
Patsy
play with
came in
Rainmaker.
for him. Patsy came in for him, didn't he? Yeah, Patsy came in for
Rainmaker,
Elish, and that was a nightmare. So no, it's not
It
even
was
that.
the summer of 23. Yeah, it's not even that.
Yeah, not quite the summer of 69, but a decent year as well. Let me see.
It's horrible. 2023 was a horrible year.
Oh, all years are great. You just got to look on the bright side and drink enough beer. Let me see. So let me think. Elish, in his career, he's not the only one with a Grand Slam.
Twist was there, and Nitro.
Yeah. Just thinking about achievements. Maybe there's something he's done. Is he the only one to have made a HLTV top 10? No, I'm sure. I mean, I know Fallen did, so never mind. Twist probably has snuck one in as well. Is Elish the only one? No, it can't be an opening kills thing because Yekindar hasn't beat. Okay, I'm drawing a blank. Can I get a hint? Is there a hint you can give me?
It's a very current talking point. It's not something like Elish was the only one who did this 6 years ago. It's something which is happening right now. And I can tell you it's not as simple as he's the only one currently playing for Liquid. It's not that easy. That's also true, but it's not that easy.
To be honest, I didn't hear what you said.
It's a very current thing. It's something which is happening right now. It's not like Elish did something 6 years ago that the others haven't done. It's happening right now, and it's not as simple as he is the only one currently playing on Liquid.
Yeah, I have no fucking clue. Tell me, is he the only one who's the fourth highest rated on his roster in 2026 or something? Like, I don't fucking know what's going
on. Do you give up?
I give up.
You're going to hate me for this. He is the only one out of these 8 current or former Liquid players who is currently projected not to make the Cologne Major.
Jesus.
It's horrible.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
I should have known.
It's horrible. Yeah, because I got the idea because Rainmaker's in, and I kind of felt like, that's quite funny how like it's been talked about a bit. We had a big thing on it on TLDR about how Liquid are currently like actively throwing major qualification by just not playing anything. And then I was like, well, okay, even like OC has a spot, Nitro has a spot, Fallen and Yekindar obviously have, Grim on Passion UA obviously has one, Twists has one, fucking Rainmaker as well. Monty are like inside that window at the moment. So at the moment they're projected to be there, but Elish, Naf, they won't be. And yeah, it's it's rough times for Liquid fans at the moment.
I should open chat back up after the game and see bald in all caps. Just bald.
I mean, also true. He's the only bald one. He's the only one to currently play on Liquid. He's the only one who speaks. He's the only half Polish one, I assume, unless there's something I don't know about Yekindar or Rainmaker. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. But anyway, let's get on to the other game. We have 2 games today.
Ooh.
A novelty. Yes, 2 games. We're both supposed to usually prep something, but here we go. We got 2 games. And the second one is going to be just a very simple one. An all-time EPL winners draft. So we will be drafting players from EPL victories. Now, I have, like a sensible man, not prepped for this at all. So I'll have to be looking up EPL winners throughout history. And I feel like Liquipedia is going to be my friend in terms of finding all of the events and referencing them.
Fuck, yeah.
I think I said it's probably won a Pro League last season. That's going to be my way to find the page.
In 2024,
year,
they definitely did. 2023.
No, they did. They won one in 2025. They won 21. So let's go. Season 21.
Okay.
All right, season 22. Which one's that one?
All right. So snake or how?
Huh?
The draft, like snake draft, or
Oh,
how are we doing this?
nah, let's just do taking in turns. Right. Now, here's some rules. You have to draft roles. You can't just draft 5 fucking rifles and be like, oh, you're the best 5. Like, no. Roles matter. The roles are as follows. IGL, opener, closer, support, AWP. Now, that's support and AWP, some Pious fans. Not the same thing. So we want an opener, a closer, a support, an AWPer, and an IGL.
All right. Do you want to start or should I?
You can take the first one.
So, okay. Donk has not won an ESL Pro League, which kind of just forces me to pick Zywu as my opera, I think.
Is that what you're taking?
So I'm going to go for Zywu. Yeah, I'm going to go for Zywu.
Which year? We draft.
Oh, wait, I have to pick the year. Okay, hang on. Hang on. Okay. No, I'm changing my mind. I'm taking 2021 s1mple because they won in season 14.
This guy. This guy. s1mple for 2021, right?
Yeah, season 14. 21. It was after Cologne as well, I think. So
Right.
actually proper good s1mple. Yeah, the best s1mple.
All right, I'm going to have a think. I think this player is going to be a banger. I just hope he's won one. In his prime, preferably. Yes, he did. Did he take home MVP as well? Yes, he did. Not his most crazy event, but this is a pretty great period. #1 player in the world. Give me closer, coldzera 2016 for the ESL Pro League Season 3 finals.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's nice.
Because I know now that you've taken
you've
taken an AWP, so I'm like, I know you can't take all the good AWPers. Like, you can't take a good AWP from me, so I'm not going to touch that role yet.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make the case that Zywu is an opener or whatever just because he had that one entry round. See, okay. Is there anybody else? So I have one player in mind, but I'm trying to think if I could go a better route. I don't think that's the case. So who was on this team? The winning team there. Okay. Interesting. I think there's a funny thing I can do.
Anytime legend.
Just, I have a lot of thoughts. I'll just go for IGL 20 season 7, so 2018 Glaive.
Okay.
And I think so far I've locked in what some would consider to be the best opera of all time and the best IGL of all time, especially like the year of. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, I need an open and a support, and I'm trying to think, is there a year where I have a good pick for those? Opening wise, the best opening rifler I'm going to get for a Pro League winner. That's tough. That is actually kind of tough.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to pick honestly, I just don't want to pick like a Flamesy Vitality era type shit, you know? Let me go back as far as I can, just on recent events. Let's go back to Season 19 Pro League. Who won this one? Mouse. This was a Mouse win with Xertion. No, thank you. No. Let's go back further than that. Yeah, let's go back. Let's see, winners. Ooh, Season 9 Liquid. There we go. That's more like it.
Yeah, I was looking at this.
That's a team I think I can fuck with. Let me see. Who won MVP for them? Please tell me it's Elige. Please tell me it's Elige. Please tell me Elige is a Pro League MVP. Season 9 finals. First place MVP is Elige. Give me Elige from 2019 as my opener.
Nice. I don't hate that. I was looking at him as well.
0.82 KPR type. Yeah, let's go. 1.38 impact. Lovely.
So that was season 9, Montpellier.
Season 9.
That's good. I have a closer in mind, and I don't want you to snag him.
Okay.
But I'm just trying to think if he really is the best option. So let me just check. Yeah, he's gonna be one of my favorite pro leagues of like honestly one of my favorite. That might be one of my favorite esports memories of all time. Give me season 10, 2019 ROPS. That's my closer.
Okay.
Some might scoff at the fact that I haven't gone for a Vitality ROPS. Because they did win one last year. And I could have gone for that. They won both of them even. But I honestly, like, ROPS in that season 10 was the MVP. He was the star player. I'm taking that ROPS.
Right. Who's your RGL again? Glaive?
Glaive, s1mple, ROPS. 2018,
Right.
21, and 19.
Right, so I'm not sure why you're so desperate to get a closer. I already have mine. That's fine. Whatever.
Oh, I forgot about that. Jesus.
That's
okay.
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Let's go. I'm going to go look at a support. Because you know who definitely has won a pro league somewhere? He surely has. The Clutch Minister. Yeah, season 7 or season 8, zipex in support. Let me see, which one do I prefer? Did you draft someone from season 7 or season 8? Where was your glaive from?
I took season 7, I believe.
Okay, well, I'll take the other one
Doesn't
for
matter.
Zip, just so we don't cross.
Same lineup, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
the same,
still.
doesn't matter.
Zip,
Yeah.
let's say season 8. Yeah, season 8 finals for Andreas Zipex, whatever his last name is, like Hesgeth or something. Hosleth, that was it. He's a 115 rated player at this event. Not half bad, not too shabby. What a good support pick. Fucking hell. I didn't expect him to be that high rated. 115. God damn. Is that all clutches? It is. 0.09 clutch points per round. Eat that.
It's not bad. Not bad at all. Now I have a lot of options now, I think. Because at this point... So can we repeat the same event? Or is that like a non...
I'm trying to avoid repeating the event, yeah. I'm trying to avoid it. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I'm trying to avoid it.
Yeah, I'm also trying. At this point, we've had 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
10, which is Prime Browse, Prime Astralis. So a lot of those good guys are on.
Yeah, Cold was 3.
I need an
Your
opener and I need
simple
a
pick was
support.
2021. I don't know which one that is, but
That would have been season 14, the one they won.
okay.
So I'm not gonna. So I can't take like a. Let's just say that we haven't done it so far, and we've both been avoiding it. Let's just say we can't do it. So I'm not gonna go for like a Perfecto as a support. Perfecto 21. But I have a nuts one here. Okay, so I need a support. Give me
Which pro league did he win? Which pro league did s1mple win?
who? Season 14.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh yeah, he did. Okay, from my head, I thought you'd picked a 2021 Navi.
It is.
It is 2021. Why is it not listed in his achievements on LAN? So confused. Was it not on LAN?
Oh, it might have been online because that was. Yeah, that was. It was like after Cologne, but like Cologne, the next LAN after Cologne was Stockholm, I think. Maybe the IEM Fall thing was in between there.
Yeah, it's online. Oof, you got an online s1mple, damn. Oof.
Still, 2021 s1mple. Hey, you cannot go wrong with that. You also, you cannot really go wrong with. 1 second, I'm just gonna check which one he was better in because I have 2 years to choose from. The 2 first pro leagues were won by Fnatic in 2015. I need a support. Give me Crims. And I'll just say they were both in 2015. I'll just say 2015 Crims.
2015 Crims. Was that number 2 or number 1?
We are gonna go for number 2.
Okay, Crims from Pro League number 2.
He was slightly better than the other one, but he won both. And 2015 Crims is just a very good player who's I feel like it's such a technically a support player.
Well, yeah, they don't really do supports on that team, did they? It was a bit different.
No, but if somebody...
Yeah, it was obvious Crims.
Somebody.
All right, so now I can fill in my spots, which you've already nicely helped me out with overlapping on. I'm going to take Carrigan from Pro League 15.
Ooh, nice. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, but I couldn't really... But now it's interesting, because now I feel like we've honestly taken... I need to fill an opener. And aside from current vitality, I think we've basically taken every single great roster which is on here. Because if I'm not taking from there, I'm taking 17 SK, but I don't think, like... Who would that be? Like Fur?
Number 4 in the world Fur, I think it would be around.
I don't think... like 17 Fur? 17? Jesus. Okay. Huh. It's not bad. I could also have current Flamesy. Or last year Flamesy.
Yeah, it's not really current Flamesy, is
maybe
it?
Have. No, but last year Flamesy. Yeah. Could have I guess that would... No, it would be Twists. It would be 22 Twists. That's also not bad.
Twists?
I take Flame... Yeah, he won a Pro League in 2022.
As an
part of his
opener?
Grand Slam. I would say he was opening in 2022. Was he the support? If we're applying these 5 roles to that phase team, Twists and Rain, who is the support and who is the opener?
Now, they're going to hate me for this, but the opener's Rain. Like, it does openings, it's Rain. Like, that's just how it is.
All right. Hey, that makes my decision for me. I am taking 2025 Flamesy as my opener, and I'm being boring.
Which one? Because they won 2.
Fuck, now I need to check which one he was better at again.
He was the same at both, just picked one.
Then I'm picking the first one with the win streak.
2021.
Season, whatever the fuck it was.
It's 21. That's 21. That is the one where...
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's Pro League 21. That is the one where Zywoo was better, actually. Because my final pick is a Zywoo, and I could have taken a Zywoo from that year. Does he have another Pro League win, by any chance, that isn't Pro League 22? Just because I wanted to really have some panache when I utterly wreck you and win this.
I'll tell you, Zywoo has 3 Pro League wins.
Oh, he does? What's the third one that I'm missing? 22, 21, 19,
16.
Second. Oh, 16. Oh, this is... Oh, is this Spinks Zywoo? It is. Okay.
Yes.
I'll take Zywoo. 0.91 KPR. Let's go. Okay, I'll take Zywoo from number 16.
Yep.
Let's go.
I don't think either of us have done half bad, to be honest.
Right, so my team is Carrigan, Elige, Cold, Zip, and Zywoo. And honestly, the problem you have is that everything besides s1mple I don't rate this highly. I just can't. I'm like, s1mple's nuts, and I'll give you that. But Glaive, I don't think is as great as Carrigan. Flamesy, I don't think touches Elige. Rops, I don't think is as good as Cold in his prime. Crims, I don't think touches Zip. So I think I've cleared the fuck out of this one. I don't know about you, chat. We'll put a fucking poll up, but goddamn.
No, I think honestly I front loaded with very good picks. I fumbled when I forgot that you already had a closer, because for some reason I thought you had picked like I don't know what I thought you'd picked, but and I felt like I had to rush for a closer, and in my mind like Rops was the pick like to me that Rops pick was a banger. But I think 2018 Glaive, you took what, 22 Carrigan?
Yeah, Grand Slam Carrigan.
Look, that phase was shaky. That was a shaky team.
They won a Grand Slam and a major.
Looked significantly like 2018 Astralis looked significantly better than 2022 phase.
Yeah, but also remember, you didn't pick Astralis. You picked Glaive. What? Sorry, what are Glaive's accolades outside of the one team? What are Glaive's accolades outside of one team? Outside of one team. As an IGL, what has Glaive ever done?
That doesn't matter. I'm taking 2018.
Yeah, but he doesn't have Magisk. He doesn't have.
But I'm taking that team.
He doesn't have Zonic. He doesn't have Device. Glaive outside of Astralis.
That's the Glaive I'm taking.
Glaive outside of Astralis is a terrible pick.
What does Zipnix have outside Astralis?
Doesn't need to because he won clutches. He's not an IGL. That's not how it works. He actually did shit.
Crims was better than Zipnix at the time. Hey!
Horrific take, but that's fine. Let's get into the Eternal Shuffle.
I don't have anything to back it up, but I'm believing that man. Thank you, Daniel.
Let's get into the Eternal Shuffle because we're almost 2.5 hours into this.
Yeah. Horrible.
God.
I'll give you some moves. We have some La France 3D Max have cut Body for some reason, and they've signed Misuta for some reason, and they've also made some coach rotations. Mostly NBK is now on the team as an assistant coach. What do you think about Misuta over Body?
I think Body is a better Counter-Strike player holistically. I think Misuta is better at shooting people in the head. Because I think Misuta's actually pretty good at shooting people in the head. He's just a bit stupid sometimes. That being said, this whole move stinks of we are unable to do a whole lot else and are stagnating and desperate, and let's just shake things up. So I don't think this is a massively exciting move for them. Like they didn't make this move because they love the idea of making the move, right? So I would put this at I'd give him a B. Like you've not tanked the team entirely and understand the impulse. Actually, no, C. Maybe C minus. I just don't feel like you've actually made the team better in a guaranteed way. And mid-season, it seems almost panicky. I just don't like the way it feels more than anything. I still think Misuta could be pretty decent for them. I'm just not sure about it. I'm not sure about the exact player and everything. It's just a weird one.
Yeah. I think Body was doing a decent job. Misuta's always not a bad player. It's the kind of thing where it's impossible for me to read. I'm just going to have to see how they play. And so far, no different. Probably third week running, we're talking about this move, but NRG have finalized the addition of Grim. Do you like NRG with Grim so far?
So far at this event, no.
Horrible.
But it's not really Grim's fault. I think they overperformed about 2-3 weeks ago in a way that set the standard absurdly, unnecessarily high for what this team is. I still think this move's an upgrade for them. Like Grim for George is an upgrade. It just doesn't look like it because of the fluke. So yeah, I'm not too bothered. I'm still going to give them a B plus sort of move for this.
It is. Yep. Imperial have cut Skulls alongside the sale of Try, and they've signed Levi to replace Try, and Decenty is back? ? I think he was on this team before. In place of Skulls.
No, this is a weird little move. I don't really like Levy that much as an AWPer. And he hasn't really done a whole lot to show himself off so far. So yeah, this is just the Levi part of it's just you had to sign someone, I guess. Decenty coming into the lineup for Skulls. Wait, Decenty has been on Imperial. Yeah, I wasn't going crazy. Just expect him to be in a jersey. Look, Skulls wasn't exactly fantastic. Decenty, you took a risk, and I mean, he's played 15 maps and he's dropping a 119. So what can I say?
Yep. Yeah. Not much more to add on that move. Levi got benched from 9Z. He wasn't that hot, but I think he's also on the prospects list that I think like the HLTVs Harry's thing, which is at least not it's at least not bad. to, according to some, be the 50th best prospect player in the world. So, hey, it's not bad. Let's see what he does. Maybe they can do something there. This was reported, and they have benched sheyl. Sorry. So this is looking like it's actually going to happen. 9 be signing Flay in place of sheyl as their opper.
Yeah, they're cutting an AWPer I don't really rate and signing a different AWPer I don't really rate. Yeah. 2 different players. I think Flay is more the playstyle I want right now. If I'm 9, yep. I think I'd rather have Flay on the team, even if he is... yeah, sometimes he does make bad decisions. Sometimes he misses. So, yeah, I'm going to give him a... Yeah. I'll give him a B. Fuck it. Yeah, I don't really rate sheyl.
Fine. These are all moves that I can't really say anything about. They're signing players that I don't think is like a clear upgrade. But it's also like your team isn't super good, so I don't have anything to add here. They're going back to a Polish corp. Nice for chemistry, I guess. Nemesis have cut Yix Rezo, and they've loaned in Resalt. Resalt is back, everybody. Everybody's favorite. He's playing on Nemesis. They haven't played anything. On paper, what do you think?
Yeah, good. Resalt's probably better than Yix Rezo. Just not a huge move, is it? Not cataclysmic, not shaking the earth. Nemesis are a weird team in that sense. They're going to probably try and make a bunch of little incremental moves, and this is a pretty good one in that sense. They've been a bit flat, so yeah. Give them a B as well.
Yeah, solid move. Now we're getting into the groundbreaking stuff. This has wide and far-reaching implications. DracuLAN has taken a break from competing, and Knock has joined the team instead.
Great. The Swedish scene continues to be Swedish, and Swedish players go back and forth and left and right. And yeah, I think DracuLAN was probably the reason Johnny Speeds exists. It seems. So this is just kind of, yeah, it's just kind of a sad ending for him, but yeah. I don't really rate Knock that much. I'm going to give this move a D, actually.
Yeah, here I can comment. DracuLAN, yeah, he's done this for a very long time. I could see wanting to take a step back, doing other stuff. He's still streaming. He's still doing a lot of stuff like this. And he said it's just a break. He's going to try to come back. Like, that's fine. I see that. But why did they go for Knock? Because Knock, I feel like this is a team where Knock needs to show that he still has it. Because at this point, the last merit Knock has to go off of is the Paris Major. And that's starting to be ancient history. Because I didn't hear a lot of good stuff about him from like when he was on Medisport. Neither did the stats sheet exactly. I get that s1mple replaced him on BC Game. That's a rough ride, but like he wasn't too hot on Fnatic. He wasn't too hot on Bleed. We're talking about Apex in the Paris Major, and that's the last time Knock had like a proper achievement that made him like stand out as somebody who like speaks in favor of him. And I like Knock. I like his playstyle. But I think something extra needs to be here for him to be worth for other teams taking a chance on. So I don't know. Maybe he is just a placeholder and they know DracuLAN is going to be back in like a month or two. But whatever the case, it feels weird, especially when you have somebody like Snow who is free. You could have had him, even if you want. Even if it's temporary, you could have gone for Snow there too. So whatever the case, I think it's a weird move. You touched on him earlier. Sashiev benched siphon, and they worded it. They said that he was now benched and is gonna remain there indefinitely, which sounds like you've been a naughty boy, which wouldn't be the first time in Siphon's career. But now they have this mol 00011 guy.
Anyway, whatever. Some person. Yeah, they have. Yeah, clearly something's happened. Either he's been unhappy and just told him to bench him because he can't be bothered dealing with these shitters, or he's called someone a cunt and they've been like, we're going to bench you. And the reason it's phrased like that is just because he's not been sold, right? It's just they have benched him. So he's just going to be benched indefinitely. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
Not much of a replacement. Sashi, It goes from bad to worse for them. I'll only give them a D because maybe he was an insufferable prick, even if it was deserved. Still, that saves you, but it is a downgrade at the end of the day.
Yep. Fingers crossed have released both teams, as they worded it, after 6 months and 6 figures. So that's their male team and their female team, which included Oscar and Krias and D7 and Shia and a bunch more. Magila and a bunch of Lithuanian guys.
Yeah, they assembled a team. They took a risk, right? In terms of their men's team, especially. Not sure what they expected in terms of turnaround, considering the actual team, the men's team, as far as I'm aware, has been officially listed as their team since 26th of Jan is when Oscar joins.
Yep,
it's a bit of a weird drop. I don't know what they expected to have happened in that time, even if they were playing perfectly. So, yeah. I don't know what the Orcs playing at. Hopefully, Oscar still seems to have some juice in him. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, he very much does. I saw him in Oslo when they were playing there, and he had a notebook with a Hellraiser's logo on, which I thought was nice. He probably has a whole bunch of those stashed at home, and he just, that's his strat book. But he also brought two, not one, but 2 cans of Siberia snus, which is ridiculously high nicotine. It's something like 42 milligrams or some shit like that. It's some crazy amount. And he brought 2 of those to a single game. Dude is crazy. Anyway, State have signed back friend of the show, Slime. Signed back. State are Wopa. It's just a rebrand of that org. I didn't realize that. But he did play for Wopa before. Now he's back on State. That's what's happening.
Is he AWPing? Yeah, he's played one series and he's AWPing again. All right, cool. A+.
Yeah. A+, nice. 130. I go.
Yeah.
And finally, Boss have cut another player because Fang has decided to leave the team. And I think that means this team is kind of doomed.
Yeah, this team's a clusterfuck. And I'm not really sure what's going to happen next. It doesn't seem like it's going to get any better before anytime soon. So, yeah. F for folding, probably.
Yeah. And that's all the shuffles.
Yay, shuffle's done. Let's close out the show the way we always do. It's time for prospects of the week. I'm going to go first, keep it quick. This is not a player who's technically played the best in the last week, but he's been interesting. He goes by the nickname Meetyok Sanaji. I've started calling him Yohan, Yoxan. And yeah, kind of crazy first bullet. Spray control is all over the fucking place. He's a sloppy, messy player, but fun and young on an Aurora Youngblood. I'm going to be following him, and I think you should too. There you go.
Yeah. You mentioned this guy in Discord, and he's I don't know anything about him. Aurora Youngblood produced some cool players in the past. If nothing else, that org support seems to be a good thing to have. And yeah, maybe they can keep supporting this team to actually start showing up in some more games, and we'll see this guy shine. Funny nickname, if nothing else. My sheet, my top show notes just say poi because that is once again my prospect for this week. Because we already talked about why Hunter Thieves are great. He's great. He's the best part of that team, and they had an amazing event in DracuLAN. Double thumbs up. I'll see you in Copenhagen.
Okay, yeah, nice. Well, that's going to be the show. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching the VOD, you made it this deep. You're a legend. Leave a comment and your thoughts on these topics, on these moves. Tell us which team is better. It's obviously mine. Sub if you want to see more content, and become a member if you want to support the channel. Quack, what?
If you watch the entire VOD, give us your top 10 Tier 1 coaches, and if you do better than Overdrive.
Yeah, we'll see what you come up with. We'll see you next week.